I'm waiting. I was enjoying my morning coffee. I wake up and I see, let me see who this guy's name is. KOBOXING86TV Sports. I'm about to tag him to this and we'll see who's ducking who. Imagine me ducking this guy. There you go. Come say hello. I say hello to you. Hello. I can't enjoy my morning coffee without somebody using my name for stuff. You know what I mean? I'll tell you what. I'll make you a deal because my time is money. If you shoot me right now $150, I'll appear on your platform because $50, that's nothing. That's nothing, bro. You know what I mean? But you shoot me $150 right now to Cash App. Let me open up my ticker. What's goody, Jamie Bourne, my guy. Mi gente, que lo que? You see the name? You see the super chat name right? I mean the Cash App name right there? You gotta send me $150 right now, and I will appear on your platform because my time is money. My time is money. I was enjoying my morning coffee, getting ready for the delicious fight that we're about to see by way of our friends in the United Kingdom, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Liam Smith. I am going with Chris Eubank to win the fight, for those that don't already know. And you're interrupting my morning. You know, I was working on the next episode of The Relay, drinking my coffee, and I see another grown man using my name to try to garner views for their smaller channel, because you have a smaller channel than mine. So why would I appear on your platform? You know, if we was cool, I could see, but we're not. You know what I mean? So if you want me to appear on your channel, it's going to cost you $150, or you can jump on this one right now for free, and I could cook you in front of all these people that's already here. Skip the foreplay. If you want to debate me, jump on right now. I'll shoot you a link. Let me shoot him the link right now and see if he don't jump on. Imagine me ducking this guy. Come say hello. KOBOXING. I say hello to you. The nerve. The nerve of these guys, man. Daniel, what it do? Modern, what it do? Jump tube, what it do? I ain't even kidding. You're interrupting my morning. So if you want my time, I need $150 right now. And I'll go to your platform and I'll cook you there in front of your audience. Because I could cook you anywhere. You're easy. You know, I've seen you. You're easy. You easy work. You too easy. But if you want to interrupt my morning, all right, I need $150 to come on your channel. Or you can jump on here for free. Pick your poison. Come on, we already got 61 people in here. That number is going to soon turn into 100 and 200 and over 200 after that. Let's go. I know you're watching. You're debating whether or not you should send me the $150. I'm going to make money off you one way or another, since you want to use my name for stuff. I am going to make money off you, KO Boxing, one way or another, on your channel or mine. But if you want me to go to your channel, I need $150 right now. Send it to the ticker. It's right there. It's right there. You see the Cash App name? Send $150 there. I'll be happy to cook you on your channel. And I will wait. Oh, the coward speaks. I'm not on your schedule. I'm not going on your platform. You've been invited to debate. Bro, you've been invited to debate week after week after week. People have seen it, bro. People have seen how many times I posted links for you. You're a coward, all right? I have no respect for you at all. No respect. All right. You one of them guys that need to use somebody else's name to get attention because your own content doesn't get any attention. You're not good enough. You're not interesting enough. You're not funny enough or handsome enough. That's what's going on. Look, I just got $10. Shout out to my man Uncertainty Principle. Love the channel. Keep up the great work. I appreciate you. You, KO Boxing, you not smart enough to talk to me. You think you can outwit people with what you're doing, the public display. I'm live right now. You can jump on here right now, free of charge, doesn't cost you anything, where I can embarrass you and make money. Because I'm gonna make money off you regardless. Look, I just did. So far, in 5 minutes, I've made approximately $12 cooking you, not counting ad revenue, because there's also ad revenue. So by all means, save your $50, because with $50, what the hell I'm going to do with that? I got fucking jeans and hoodies that cost more than that. Of course they always duck me, bro. Talking about, he says that he's not on my schedule, but I'm on his? Yo, man. Listen, man. You're not smart enough to talk to me. And you're not smart enough to outsmart me. Like, you're not. I'm gonna make money off you regardless. Your channel, my channel. But you're not gonna make a dime off of me. Any way you want to do this, bro. You want me on your channel? That's $150. And I'll be happy to go. I promise. And I will cook you on your channel. Any way you want to do it, bro. I'll be waiting. I'm waiting to hear that ping. If you want me on your channel, I need to hear that ping from Cash App that you just sent me my money. Because I'm going to make money off you regardless. Believe it. I'm going to make money when they watch this back. I'm making money now. Coward. You're a coward. You can come on here right now for free. No money down. I'll still make money off you. That's the cheapest alternative. The cheapest alternative you have is to click the link I just sent you publicly. Click the link. Jump on here right now. It's just me and you. And we can hash it out. And we could see who's the better debater. Even though everybody already knows it's me. You're not in my league, bro. You're not B League. B League is the guys I normally have to cook. You are D League. You are afraid. You fear my divine power. You interrupt my morning with your nonsense and shenanigans. You do not have the courage to step in the arena and face me, coward. I'm waiting, man. There you go. Is that him? Here you go, bro. Jump on. Here you go. There's the link. Jump on. And you can pick the subject. Pick it. I don't even know what he wants to debate. Bet I cook him. I don't know what he wants to debate. Bet I cook him. This is too easy. But I will make money off you. Of that I am certain. If nothing else, here today, you will know that I have made money off you. Click the link. Free of charge. I'm waiting. I don't hear a ping from Cash App that I've got my money, and I don't see anybody in the back. I don't see anybody backstage. What are you waiting for? When you woke up this morning, you were literally thinking about me. I was thinking about Café Bustelo. You were thinking about me. I want my money. And we'll see who's ducking who. Shout out to my man, Virgil Ortiz. I don't know if that's the real Virgil Ortiz, but I know that's some real money. I get money. Money I got. Come on, man. Let's get it rocking. Let's get it cracking. Yeah, Julio, ese tipo es pendejo, man. Es lo que quiere usar el nombre mío pa atención. Like, you using my name to get attention, bro. You just using my name to get attention. I'm waiting. We got 105 already. I've been live 10 minutes. We got 111 in the building. I've been live about 11 minutes. Let's get it. You want to debate? I'm free. I'm here. We'll see who's ducking who. Come on, man. I don't hear a ping from Cash App, and I don't see anybody backstage. And you can pick the subject. I don't even know what it is he wants to debate. Likely, I'm going to guess that what he wants to debate is either Spencer Crawford or Gervonta Davis. I'm gonna guess. Click the link, bro. Okay. Oh, I dropped the wrong link. Is that the story now? Okay, here's the real link. Bruh. Come on, B. Stop playing, bro. Stop playing, bro. That's the link. Click the link, bro. If that, yo, listen. For those that don't think that's the real link, click it. Click it. And we can debate. And you can pick the subject. It's just me and you. Yeah. Leave that over there. Click the link, bro. Come on, click the link. Click the link. That's the link. Let me post it again. Come on, B. I don't got time for this stuff. I'm 40 years old. My time is money. Click the link. Because I does this. I'm waiting. It don't take that long, bro. You know how to use StreamYard. It don't take that long. I don't hear a ping from Cash App, and I don't see anybody backstage. Click the link. Come on now. Come on now. I'm waiting. You interrupted my morning. I was enjoying my morning coffee, working on the next episode of The Relay, and you interrupted that. So now I am going to make money off you, one way or another. Click the link. Let's get it. Click the link. Clicky the linky. Clicky the link. There you go. Okay, pick your debate. What's your debate?
Whatever you want. Your man's according to boxing said something about you whoop me in the debate or put a
my name is not according to boxing. You said you wanted to debate me. You said, bro, you said you wanted to debate me. My name is not according to boxing. Pick the subject. Pick the subject.
It don't matter to me, dog. You pick the subject.
How it don't matter to you? How does it not matter to you? Pick the subject. I don't know what you want to debate. You woke up this morning. 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 And you said you wanted to debate me.
I woke up this morning.
What did you have in mind?
I woke up this morning to your man's according to boxing with a poll, and you saying it got to be on my shit. Y'all was talking about me last night. I was asleep like a baby. I wasn't talking. Listen. Stop playing games. Stop playing games, bro. I don't have no reason to be talking about you. Your platform is smaller. I don't have no reason to be talking about you. Your platform is smaller. But right now, pick what you want to debate. I'm waiting. You could have been debated in August and September last year.
You here now, bro. Pick a debate.
What you want to do, bro?
Pick your subject. What's the subject that you want to
pick? The subject. You're not good enough for me to pick a subject. You pick the subject.
I'm not good enough for you to pick the subject, but you've been with the debate since August of last year. You scared, bro. All right. I'll pick. No. I'll tell you what. Since you so terrified that you don't even want to pick the subject, yeah, you terrified. I'll pick the subject.
You gotta get paid.
I'll pick the subject.
But I'm terrified.
You terrified. You terrified. You terrified. It took for me to do this. It took for me to do this to get you on here. So we could debate. Let's see. We could debate Spence and Crawford. Go ahead. What do you want to debate about that?
Fire off. Go ahead.
Is it or is it not a matter of fact that Errol Spence Jr. has been avoiding Terrence Crawford since 2018?
That's false.
What's false about it?
That entire statement that you just said was false, bro.
Okay, isn't Errol Spence Jr. on camera with Terrence Crawford, Bob Arum, several others, saying that Al Heyman gave him 4 names and none were Terrence Crawford's?
Of course.
So what's the false part?
How is he ducking somebody that ain't never sent him a contract, bro?
How could he send him a contract? Didn't Errol Spence Jr. say that he was on the wrong side of the street?
Yeah, as Tim Bradley told Earl Spence that he was on the wrong side of the street way back before Terrence Crawford even came into the picture. You know,
no, that never happened. That never happened. Bro, you gotta stick to the subject. Did Errol not tell Terrence Crawford? Did Errol not tell Terrence Crawford that because he's with Top Rank, he's on the wrong side of the street to do a fight between them? Didn't he not say that? Yes or no?
He said the same shit Tim Bradley did. Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Tim Bradley said it. Well, if that's true, that he was on the wrong side of the street to do a fight, how is it that that same PBC made a fight with another top-ranked fighter in Tyson Fury?
He wasn't a top-ranked fighter when they made the first fight. See, this is what you do.
I didn't ask you about the first fight. I didn't say he was the top-ranked. I didn't say he was the top-ranked in the first fight.
Bounce out, bro. Let me talk, homie. You ain't gonna keep talking over me, pandering shit. Let me talk, homie. When Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder made their first fight, Tyson Fury was not an ESPN top-ranked fighter. They already had a rematch clause for the second fight. Now Tyson Fury went and signed the top rank after that, and that's why we got the goddamn Otto Wallin and fucking Tom Schwartz and shit. And then what Top Rank tried to do was pull out of the third fight with all that Anthony Joshua bullshit. So that deal for Tyson Fury to have a rematch and have a second fight, that shit was signed before he ever became a top-ranked fighter. So PBC did not try to do a deal with a motherfucking top-ranked ESPN fighter. They did that deal with Tyson Fury before he ever came to top-rank.
That's wrong, and that's false.
You can't fuck with me, bro.
And that's false. All right, is it my turn yet? Because I'll let you talk.
How is that false? How is that
false? Everything you said was false and bullshit.
Explain
bro, can I? Or you going to keep interrupting me? For starters, the rematch clause that Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder had in the first fight was on the premise that there's a winner and a loser. The rematch clause was voided because the fight was scored a draw. So there was no rematch clause for the second fight. That's why Tyson Fury was able to go fight Otto Wallin and Tom Schwartz, which you mentioned. If there was an immediate rematch clause, he would have had to fight Wilder straight away. So that already shows you don't know what you're talking about.
Wilder allowed him to go do that shit, bro.
He didn't allow him to go do that. He didn't have a choice. Man. He didn't have so prove to me he allowed him to go do that. How?
Prove to me that they had no rematch clause for a second fight.
They didn't have a rematch clause. It's in plain English. It's in plain English. It's in plain English. It's in plain English. The rematch clause they had. The rematch clause they had. It's my turn, bro. It's my turn, bro. It's my turn, bro. It's not your turn. I already heard you.
Drop it.
You made an argument that you made an argument that the reason, bro. Am I going? Is it not my turn? Is it not my turn?
Drop the link.
Is it not my turn?
Drop the link, homie. Drop it.
Is it not my turn? Is it not my turn?
You can't drop it, huh?
The reason, there was an immediate
link that he didn't have a rematch.
All right, Brody, I see you a little kid. The reason that Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder didn't fight straight away after the first fight, the reason Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder didn't fight straight away is because the first fight was scored a draw. The first fight was scored a draw. The only way the rematch clause was activated, would have been activated, is if somebody would have won and somebody would have lost. Nobody would have lost.
That is not true.
It is true. That's why Tyson Fury was able to go fight somebody else instead of Wilder.
He was able to go fight someone else because Deontay allowed him to, bro.
According to who? Did Deontay say that?
No, he did not say that. Now,
who said that? Besides you, who said that?
That is what everyone is saying, bro.
Who's everyone besides you? Nobody said that but you.
And no one is saying what you're saying but you, bro.
Everybody knows what I'm saying. Paulie Malignaggi, the funniest shit is Paulie Malignaggi said it immediately after the first fight. If there would have been an outcome, if there would have been an outcome to Wilder versus Fury 1,
said nothing positive about Deontay Wilder. That's who you're citing.
What does that have to do with the structure? What does that have to do with the structure of their deal? What does that have to do with the structure of their deal?
Why are we even talking about Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder? I thought you wanted to talk about Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford.
That is what we're talking about. And the point that I made, which you tried to deviate from, is that if Errol said that Terrence, who was a top-ranked fighter, if Errol said that Terrence was on the top-ranked side of things, him being there means they can't do a fight with him because he's on the wrong side of the street, we would have never got Wilder versus Fury 2, because in between the first fight and the second fight, he signed top rank. They had to change the whole deal structure to include top rank, but they still made a fight. So, so doesn't that then prove that Errol Spence Jr. was bullshitting? Terrence wasn't on the wrong side of the street because he was on the same side of the street as Tyson Fury, and Fury fought Wilder. You can't use that as an excuse to not fight Terrence. But you did.
Didn't Errol Spence also tell him 60-40 and they start going back and forth and shit?
Did Errol ever send him all right. When Errol said 60-40, did he send him a contract?
No, he didn't send him a contract. And I never contend. See, this is where y'all fuck up. I never contend that Terrence Bud Crawford was ducking Errol Spence in 2018, 2019.
I don't speak for you, bro.
They weren't ducking each other. All they did, bro, this is what y'all niggas don't understand. All they did was they talked a bunch of shit to each other. Earl talking shit to Bud, Bud talking shit to Earl, but Top Rank never sent no contract to Earl. Earl never sent no contract to Terrence Bud Crawford. Neither one of them ducked each other, bro, back then. The ducking started when they finally went into negotiations for this fight right here, and people actually had paperwork in front of them, and then the motherfucker pulled out and took another fight. That's the fucking duck.
Well, all right. Now is it my turn yet? Is it my turn yet?
2021, bro. They were both talking shit. And nobody sending no motherfucking offers. That's not a duck, bro.
Is it my turn yet? All right, is it my turn yet? Now, if Errol Spence Jr. said in plain English that Terrence is on the wrong side of the street because he was with Top Rank isn't going to send him a contract. Why would they? You just said we're not going to do a fight with you because you're on the wrong side of the street. That's the first thing. That encompasses 2018 to 2021 when he was, because after 2021, yes, it does, because he was still in Top Rank up until 2021.
So you forgot what happened in 2019.
What happened in 2019? He got into a car accident. What happened in 2019? He got into a car accident. He got into a car accident. What happened in 2019?
Oh, you don't remember Bud Crawford saying, I called Earl Spence on the phone. I told him to take a tune-up. I don't even want that fight next because I'm in a lose-lose situation. I don't even want that fight next. If they offered me to fight, I wouldn't even fucking take it. That's out of Terrence Crawford's own motherfucking mouth. So how the fuck are you ducking the man?
Bro,
if he got offered to fight,
if we're gonna use quotes,
bro.
All right, if we're gonna use quotes, Errol Spence Jr. out of his own mouth said the same thing. If it's up to me, I wouldn't fight Terrence Crawford next. I want Manny Pacquiao.
But you're making if they're saying the same thing, how the fuck can you make the claim that if they're saying the same type of shit, how can you make the claim that Terrence is the one being ducked when he's saying the exact same type of shit that Earl is saying? Neither one of them were ducking each other, bro.
You know what the difference is? The difference is Terrence Crawford never said Bob Arum gave me 4 names and none of them were Errol's. But Errol did say that about Terrence. You could have fought Terrence years ago.
Okay, and Errol Spence never said
if you the A side, if you the in 2018,
Earl never said sometimes you just gotta fight past 2018. Earl never said I don't even want to fight no more. I'm past that fight.
I'm the A side, I'm the big fish. So where's the offer?
The fuck are you talking about?
And you the big fish. Where's the offer? What took you so long? Why you need to fight Mikey, a lightweight who moved up to welterweight? Why you need to fight Sean first? Why you need to fight Danny Garcia first? Why you need to fight Ugas first? You could have fought Terrence Crawford. Instead of prioritizing,
Michael Garcia, because him and Terrence Crawford had never been on pay-per-view before. While he was fighting Michael Garcia, Terrence Crawford was fighting motherfucking
Michael Garcia didn't have no belt.
When he fought Sean Porter, that was a unification fight.
How was
when he fought Danny Garcia, Terrence Crawford didn't even want to fight him then, bro. You
that
don't make no sense.
That don't make no sense.
When he fought, let me talk.
Argument you're making that Errol Spence Jr.
Are you going to let me talk?
deliberately delayed his fight is ridiculous when he's on camera saying what I'm saying. He's literally on camera saying, "Yo, he gave me no, because you're not letting me talk. So if you want to act like a little kid, I could do that too. It was my turn. It was already my turn, and you still talking over me." And it was my turn. When you talk, I don't interrupt. When I talk, you do interrupt. But I saw Errol Spence Jr. on camera in 2018 say that Al Heyman gave him 4 names: Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Mikey Garcia, and Manny Pacquiao, which subsequently became Yordenis Ugas. That was in 2018. In 2019, he chose to fight Sean Porter when he could have fought Terrence Crawford. You could have fought him then, but you chose Sean Porter. In 2021, you chose Ugas. You could have fought Crawford because Ugas was under orders to fight Stanionis. You, TGB, and Ugas petitioned the WBA so that he would be next instead of Terrence. If you the A side and you the big fish, the onus to do the fight is on you. And the claim that you just made that, oh, he pulled out of the fight, that's false too. Terrence Crawford said they pushed the fight date into 2023. So he told Al Heyman himself, okay, if it's going to be next year, then I'm going to take a keep busy fight this year. And Al Heyman told him, according to Terrence Crawford, well, if you do that, then he's going to go on to fight Keith Thurman and make 7 figures. That's per Terrence Crawford. Now, unless you know more about the deal than Terrence Crawford, he didn't pull out of anything. They told him the fight's going to be this year. So why would fighting Avanesian last year affect the fight? It was going to be this year anyway.
Is it my turn now?
Go ahead.
All right, cool. So everything that you just said, right? You talked about Errol Spence fighting Mikey Garcia. Well, guess what? When Errol Spence was fighting Mikey Garcia, neither Errol Spence nor Terrence Crawford had ever been on pay-per-view. As a matter of fact, around the same time that Errol Spence announced the goddamn Mikey Garcia fight, Terrence Crawford was fighting Amir motherfucking Khan, bro. So how
because
you
he couldn't get Errol Spence fight.
So you're not gonna let me talk.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So how you ducking him then? Then you complain that Errol Spence was fighting Sean Porter. So I guess when a champion is fighting another champion, now we calling that a duck. So I guess fucking Canelo Alvarez was ducking motherfucking Caleb Plant because he fought Billy Joe Saunders first. I guess that's what we doing. I guess Alexander Usyk was ducking Breedis because he fought the dude from Poland, Glowacki, first. Like, bro, when you fighting other champions, when we start calling that shit a duck? Then you brought up the Danny Garcia shit, which I already explained to you, which is 100% fact. When Earl took the Danny Garcia fight, Terrence Crawford admitted out his own mouth that he didn't even want to fight because he felt like he was in a lose-lose situation. And he said that if they offered him to fight, he wouldn't even take it. Then he brought up the Yordenis Ugas, which I'll refer back to my last point. How the fuck can you duck somebody if you fighting other champions? So I guess when Canelo Alvarez was fighting motherfucking Callum Smith before he fought Billy Joe Saunders, he was ducking Billy Joe Saunders. Or when he fought Callum Smith before he fought Caleb Plant, he was ducking motherfucking Caleb Plant. How the fuck are you ducking people if you fighting champions, bro? That's the last thing. Now, you use Terrence Crawford, and this is what we wanted to talk about for real, right? You use Terrence Crawford talking about the shit that he said about this whole negotiation shit, about them actually. Now, this is where the ducking shit really come in, right? This is what you was talking about. You talking about Terrence Crawford said this. Everything that you referenced was what Terrence Crawford said, right? Well, Terrence Crawford also said that Al Heyman was so goddamn stupid that he was negotiating with a lawyer that Terrence Crawford didn't even know. Somebody that he knew nothing upon. Some bullshit that you got to be a motherfucking English doctorate major to fucking understand. So, but we want to believe him, though. The same Terrence Crawford that went on Kate Abdo shit and said, I never said that being undisputed motivated me. I said being world champion motivated me. But yet and still, he did a motherfucking interview with Andre Ward where he did say, I want to be undisputed, and that's what motivates me at 147. So this same nigga that contradicts himself at every turn, oh, Earl Spence ducking me, he ducking me. Well, no, I know Earl want to fight as bad as I do. It was the politics that messed up the fight from happening. Oh, blame Earl. Oh, no, it was Bob Arum that couldn't get me the fights that I wanted. This same nigga that run around this bitch contradicting himself at every motherfucking turn, lying and shit, basically saying that the dude that put on the Michael Jackson concerts, The dude that did the motherfucking Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao fighting all these big events in boxing, Al Heyman was stupid enough to negotiate with a lawyer that Terrence Crawford didn't even know. That's who you trusting. And then furthermore, you talking about Terrence Crawford said that they wanted to push the fight back to 2023. Well, Imonte Stanionis said that he was supposed to be the co-main event. The same dude they had to pay to step aside said that he was supposed to be the co-main event, and that's why he was pissed off that his fight date kept getting pushed back. You know the guy that puts up the budget for the fight, you know the Showtime executive, Steven Espinoza, he said that he had all of that shit pertaining to 2022 and 2023, and that he could have fought in 2022, but he kept asking for more shit. And if he really didn't duck out the fight, and the fight was for 2023, and he agreed to everything like y'all claim he did, if you agreed to everything and all you wanted was a fight in 2022, why didn't you just do a Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia? Why didn't you just go ahead and agree to fight early in 2023 and take your little tune up in 2022 then? Why did you pull all the way out of negotiations and take a fight with David Avenesian, and now you talking about we got to go back to the drawing board? Now you talking about we got to go ahead and renegotiate. Why you got to renegotiate some shit? The fuck is you talking about, bro? Try to rebuttal that. Go ahead. It's your turn.
Okay, you gave me a lot to rebuttal, so I'm going to have to take my time. For starters, you can't compare Canelo Alvarez fighting.
You don't have to take your time because you can't fuck with it, but go ahead.
Okay. Is it my turn? Now, one, you brought up Canelo Alvarez fighting another champion instead of Caleb Plant. You must not know that he went to Caleb Plant before he went to Callum Smith, and Caleb is the one who told him to circle back. That's why he fought Callum. Then he went back to him after he beat Callum, and he told him again, yo, can we fight now? And Caleb told him the same thing. That's how he ended up fighting Billy Joe Saunders. That parallel doesn't even make sense because Canelo actually fought Caleb. Errol hasn't fought Crawford. So you can't even use that as an example, not that it matters, because Caleb wanted to be last. The reason Canelo didn't fight him first wasn't because he was ducking him. It's because Caleb wanted to be last. So that's a moot point that doesn't make any sense. You brought up Usyk, and the only reason Usyk ended up fighting people ahead of Mayweather Breeders is because it was a fucking tournament. They wasn't picking and choosing who they were going to fight. That was the World Boxing Super Series. It was a tournament format. The semi-quarterfinal, the quarterfinal, all that bullshit, that didn't boil down to choice. So all those parallels that you used mean dick. The second thing, well, wasn't it Errol Spence Jr. on camera who categorized Sean Porter as easy? Didn't he say that's the easy, I'm going to go the easy route and I'm going to fight Sean? That's what he said on camera. So if you choose to fight the guy that you call easy, that must mean you swerving him because he's more difficult. On camera, Errol Spence Jr. said, I'm going to go the easy route and fight Sean. That's what he said on camera. There's no debate that he said that. It's on camera. He was wearing a red hoodie like me when he said that. He said, I'm going to go the easy route and fight Sean. Well, if you choosing to fight Sean instead of fighting Bud, when you could fight Bud, you know, you the big fish, you the A-side, all that cool stuff. You could fight Bud. You chose the easier fight. You chose Mikey Garcia. You chose Sean Porter. You chose Ugas. You chose all of that because we know the pound-for-pound fighter, the more difficult fight with the more difficult fighter is Terrence Crawford. Furthermore, you brought up the negotiations between Terrence Crawford and the more recent set of negotiations between Terrence, Errol, and Al. And Terrence, in his own words, said that I told Al, if we're not going to fight this year, I'm going to take a keep busy fight. Errol Spence Jr. late last year said, okay, he'll spin the block. Has he spun the block? No, you fighting Keith Thurman at 154. You didn't spin the block. You didn't circle back to revisit negotiations for the fight. You going into a whole nother fight with a whole nother fighter that you said you would never fight. It seems that the only time somebody's contradicting themselves is when it's Terrence. But if I bring up Errol saying, I would never fight Keith Thurman, you about to fight him. You said you would spin the block. You didn't spin anything. You didn't re-enter negotiations. And when you look at the fact that they're supposed to now be fighting in what, May? You could have rescheduled the Crawford fight for May. You didn't even bother to revisit negotiations with Terrence Crawford. But y'all got that Keith Thurman fight done in a jiffy, the same way y'all got the Ugas fight done in a jiffy. After Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter, he was a network and promotional free agent. You could have went into negotiations with him then. You didn't. You chose to to petition the WBA to allow Ugas to fight you, even though Ugas was already ordered to fight Stanionis. He had his own business, but you tried to get him out of that Stanionis so he could fight you, and so you could not fight Terrence. I didn't do nothing. He dropped off. I didn't do nothing. Y'all see? Y'all see what I'm talking about? I didn't do nothing. He dropped off. Well, come on, KO. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? I didn't do nothing. Funny story. When Jeff Horn won the WBO title, Errol Spence Jr. said he wants Horn next. When Terrence got the title, it became about cleaning up his side of the street. Same as Ryan Garcia with Devin Haney. When George Kambosos beat Teofimo Lopez, Ryan wanted George. But when Devin beats George, belts don't matter. Come on, KO. Where'd you go? Where'd you go, KO? If they're both saying the same thing, how is only one a duck? I'll tell you how it's a duck. Errol, in his own words, said, first it was, let him get a belt first, then I'll fight him. Then it became, I have to clean up my side of the street. Then it became, Sean Porter, the easy route Errol, that's where that came from. He categorized Sean Porter as being the easier fight, so why wouldn't he take it? Those are his own words, not mine. You could have fought Terrence Crawford right after the Sean Porter fight. He was a network and promotional free agent. At the beginning of last year, Tim Smith, the VP of Communications at the PBC, said they hadn't even made Terrence Crawford an offer yet. What took them so long? They didn't start negotiating for Terrence until the second quarter in May. They literally offered Canelo Alvarez a Errol Spence Jr. fight. That's per Tom Brown. He said they offered Canelo Alvarez 3 names: Benavidez, Charlo, Errol. If you were trying to fight Terrence, why are they putting you up for Canelo if it was your goal to do a Terrence Crawford fight? I don't know where he went. I think his phone died. Errol has spun more cars than blocks. I'm waiting for him to come back. Here's the link again. I'll pick up where I left off. And immediately after Porter versus Crawford, we all know that Terrence Crawford announced he's a network and promotional free agent. Errol Spence Jr. did not pursue the fight with him then. The fight that he did pursue was an Ugas fight. KO tried to compare that to Canelo fighting Smith instead of Plant, or Saunders instead of Plant, when it was Caleb that told him to spin back around. That's the reason those fights happened in that order. It was because Caleb wanted to be last, not because Canelo was avoiding anybody. The first guy that Canelo went to was Caleb Plant, the first guy. And I've already mentioned Usyk and Breedis and how that's a tournament format. That's not the same as Errol and Terrence. That's quarterfinal.
I heard everything you said, bro. Just let me know when it's my turn, man.
All right, it's still my turn. I'll let you go for like 10 minutes without saying a word. As far as Terrence and Errol, which is the subject at hand, you didn't have to fight Ugas in that order. You had a choice. You chose Ugas the same way you didn't have to fight Sean in that order. You chose to fight Sean in that order. Your excuse was that because Terrence was with Top Rank, you couldn't do a fight with him, but we know that's bullshit. Top Rank did a fight with Wilder and Fury. They weren't involved in the first fight, granted, but they were involved in between the first fight and the second fight, and they did the fight. So why couldn't you use that same deal structure to do a fight between you and him? Because you didn't want to. You said Al gave you 4 names. He gave you Keith, he gave you Mikey, he gave you Danny, and he gave you Pacquiao. You didn't get to fight Pacquiao even though you were supposed to, though all the same. That proves that it was always their plan to put distance between Errol and Terrence, because they gave you 4 names. They had a 4-fight plan for you, and not a single name in there was the name of Terrence Crawford. When it boiled down to choice, you could have chose Crawford over Ugas, but you wanted Ugas, even though Ugas was already under orders to fight Stanionis. He should have been busy with that. You wanted Ugas, not Crawford. TGB, y'all petitioned the WBA to get Ugas to get Stanionis to step aside so you could fight him instead. Why not Terrence? Why is it that when push comes to shove, you always go the other way? So we see this latest set of negotiations, which only kicked off after they already offered Errol to Canelo. Tom Brown, the TGB promotion, said they offered Canelo Alvarez 3 names after the Plant fight: David Benavidez, Jermall Charlo, and Errol Spence Jr. They hadn't even entered into negotiations with Terrence yet. They didn't enter negotiations with Terrence until May, the second quarter of the year. In the first quarter of the year, Tim Smith said, well, we haven't made Terrence an offer because we don't want to insult him, meaning y'all haven't even started talking yet, but they already offered you to Canelo, though, right? You were option for Canelo. What I see is Terrence was a last resort. If anything, it was a last resort. And the deal that you offered him, you offered him a deal where he's not guaranteed any money, but you had guaranteed money for Ugas. You had guaranteed money for Mikey. You had guaranteed money for Sean Porter. You guarantee every other fighter you fight money, but you don't offer this guy nothing. You're negotiating in bad faith. It's very obvious. Up until this point, when have you ever heard of an Errol Spence Jr. opponent not being guaranteed any money? And I'm supposed to believe that that's Terrence's fault? You're supposed to be the A side. You're the one structuring a deal. You and Al, you're the ones determining all those factors. And when it's Terrence, y'all don't offer him no money. But when it's everybody else, you could offer them money. You offered him a deal you didn't think he would accept so that Errol would move on. And when he doesn't accept it, you're going to hang it around his neck and try to make it his fault when it was never your intention to do this fight. How could it have been? They offered you to Canelo. How was it your intention to do this fight? The only reason that we're even here is because Canelo didn't waste time on Errol. Your turn.
This is child's play. So they offered Canelo to Earl because it's the same way that when Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence was talking all that shit. If you get a Manny Pacquiao opportunity, if you get a motherfucking Canelo Alvarez opportunity, you take that shit, bro. Those are 2 dudes that no matter what, no matter who you are, I don't give a fuck. People try to act like Earl is the face of boxing. That shit ain't true. People try to act like it may be Tank. That ain't true. Tank the biggest name from 140 down, but the biggest name in the sport that ain't a heavyweight is Canelo Alvarez. And at the time that Manny was in there, it was Manny too. So if you Terrence Crawford and you Earl Spence, they fans wanted them to get a Manny fight. If you Earl Spence and you got a chance to fight Canelo Alvarez, anybody taking that shit, bro. Anybody taking that shit, because I don't give a fuck what you say. Earl versus Bud ain't the biggest fight. If Terrence versus Canelo happen, that's the biggest motherfucking fight. That's the biggest bag Terrence will ever get. If Earl versus Canelo happen, that's the biggest fucking bag. That's the biggest bag that Earl will ever get. You ain't ducking no motherfucker for trying to fight Canelo. Anybody in their right mind is going to try to fight Canelo. That's the point on that. The Ugas shit. What you guys fail to realize is that the only reason that Ugas became an option was because Earl got hurt. The real fight was Earl versus Manny Pacquiao. That's the fight they got signed. That's the fight that they was trying to do. But Earl got a detached retina, so he couldn't take the fight. And when he got the detached retina, he didn't just pull Ugas out the blue. The nigga told all y'all, bro, y'all just don't be listening and you only hear what you want to hear. He said, that's all right. I'm coming back stronger. I want the winner. I'm fighting the winner of the fight. That's what he said, bro. So after Manny Pacquiao lost, and it's clear that the PBC wanted Manny to win, because for the life of me, somebody tell me how the fuck you score that fight 115-113 in favor of Ugas. Ugas put pause on Manny Pacquiao ass. That fight was not that close at all. So, but Ugas got the victory. And so Earl went right through what he said he was going to do. And you keep making this argument that you are ducking people by fighting other champions. I guess motherfucking Josh Taylor, since you didn't like my other examples, we got more. No issues. I guess Josh Taylor was ducking motherfucking Jose Ramirez and Maurice Hooker when he fought motherfucking Regis Prograis. I guess that shit is a duck. I don't understand this.
Is it my turn? Is it my turn?
Motherfuckers are ducking people when they fighting other champions. Then you talked about the no guarantee shit. And I thought that we wanted to see fights here, bro. I thought we was fight fans and shit. So you want to complain and you want to be okay with a man pulling out of a fight with no guarantee when the nigga that he fighting didn't have no motherfucking guarantee either. But he signed his shit. He agreed to his shit. He had no guarantee, just like Terrence had no guarantee. So who gives a fuck, bro?
Okay, move it along, bro, because you carrying on for 10 minutes. All right, for starters, because you jump into a lot of different shit.
You can't handle what I'm saying so much. You gonna cut me off again. I got you. It's all good. I know.
Okay, it's my turn. You brought up, Josh. You brought up. No. It's my turn, bro. It's my turn. It's my turn, bro.
Type of deal as the other fighter, and we gonna be okay with him not signing this shit. At the end of the day, bro, what you can't get around, and what none of y'all can get around, is that this man Terrence Bud Crawford had 2 motherfucking contracts. He had a contract on this plate to fight undisputed versus Earl Spence and become the first man ever to be undisputed in 2 separate weight classes in the 4-belt era. The only person to do that, and I know you're going to hate this because you really don't like her much, the only other person to do that was Clarissa Shields when she put pause on Savannah Marshall. Or he could fight a motherfucking voluntary defense against a motherfucker who got knocked out by a motherfucker that he already knocked out. Those were his 2 options. I signed to fight Earl Spence, or I signed to fight David Avenesian. This motherfucker looked at both of those contracts, and he chose to fight motherfucking David Avenesian.
Okay, it's my turn, bro. It's my turn, bro. It's my turn, bro. It's my turn. It's my turn. It's my turn.
Bro, let me.
You're not saying nothing.
No,
you literally. All right. So let me address this.
And everything.
All right, it's my turn, bro. It's my turn. What you want? 20 minutes? It's my turn. It's my turn. What do you want? 20 minutes to talk nonstop? It's my turn.
I know it's hard for you because I'm out here doing you dirty on your own shit. Let me finish, bro. Then you talked about Earl Spence negotiating in bad faith and his team negotiating in bad faith. I got a question for all the people in the chat because I know y'all dick riding them, but y'all gonna hear me on this. This motherfucker, Terrence Crawford, out of his own mouth, was talking to the PBC at the same time that he was talking to BLK Prime. He said he met BLK Prime before May, but that he started talking to him in May. Now, maybe y'all think they was talking about dating. Maybe y'all think that they were talking about how going out to dinner or some shit. But if you're being real with yourself, you know what the fuck that they was talking about. During this time, he admitted out his own mouth that he told BLK Prime everything that he was doing with PBC, while telling PBC out of his own mouth that he told them nothing that he was doing with BLK Prime. So y'all answer me this question. How the fuck are you negotiating in good faith and you really trying to fight Earl Spence if you were doing the deal with BLK Prime and letting them know everything PBC is offering you and not telling PBC that they got a competing offer that they got to go against to try to get that fight? You are telling the people everything that you really want to do business with. I'm on here with Ring IQ right now. And if I'm talking to fucking Ring IQ, if I'm talking to Ring IQ and I'm talking to, I don't know, sporting icons in this motherfucker, and I tell sporting icons everything that I'm doing with Ring IQ about a debate. Hey, sporting icon, Ring IQ said I can come to his platform. Ring IQ gonna give me $50. Ring IQ gonna do this, he gonna do that. But then I go back to Ring IQ and I don't tell him shit. I don't tell him nothing that Sporting Icons is offering me. Ain't it safe to say that I really want to do the deal with Sporting Icons because I'm being, here go this word y'all like to use, transparent with Sporting Icons, but I'm not being transparent with Ring IQ? This nigga Terrence Bud Crawford was asking the PBC for shit that he wasn't willing to give his goddamn self. And y'all give him a pass for it. Y'all act like it's all cool. That man a duck. I don't give a fuck what y'all tell me. Now tell me what motherfucking lie I just told. I bet you can't.
Nigga. All right. You just talked for like 20 minutes jumping from point to point. For starters, you did the same stupid shit you did before. Regis Prograde did not avoid Jose Ramirez by going into the World Boxing Super Series because he was in negotiations to fight Jose first. Both teams decided to part amicably. All right. But Regis wanted to fight. When he saw he couldn't get Jose Ramirez in the ring per an order from the WBC, that's when he decided to go into the World Boxing Super Series. You did the same silly shit with Regis that you just did with Usyk and the other shit and the Canelo shit. The reason that Errol is avoiding Terrence by fighting another champion is you had a choice. You had a choice. You didn't have to fight Ugas. Ugas was busy. You chose to fight Ugas. Even though you knew he was under orders to fight Stanionis, you still chose him over Crawford. The same way you still chose Danny Garcia over Crawford. The same way you still chose Sean Porter over Crawford. You talked about what Terrence Crawford said in 2020, and you didn't even use the whole quote. In 2020, ahead of the Danny Garcia fight, which is when those quotes are from, the reason Terrence said that is because Errol was just in a car accident. Nobody knew what he was going to look like. So he said, I'm in a lose-lose because if you fight him off the car accident, people may not give you credit for it. So he was okay with Errol fighting Danny. That's the quote you're using, and you're deliberately misquoting him. You're also fudging the timeline because that's the only reason he said it. It's because between 2019 and 2020, December of 2020, Errol hadn't fought. He wasn't even medically cleared to spar, much less fight. So Terrence said, yeah, I wouldn't mind if he takes a tune-up first, because if I fight him next, I'm in a lose-lose. You bring up, what's the other bullshit you brought up? You brought up that he was negotiating with two people at the same time in May of last year. Well, if you take that as Bud avoiding Errol Spence Jr., what do you call it when Tom Brown offers Canelo Alvarez Errol Spence before you even enter into negotiations with Terrence Crawford? You're saying that because it's Canelo Alvarez, it's supposed to be different. No, it's not different. What I see is a pattern. You always choose to fight someone else instead of this guy. This guy was a last resort. It doesn't matter if it's Canelo, Pacquiao, Ugas, whoever. You're making a decision, and your team is making a decision to fight someone else. You was only negotiating with this guy because there was nobody else to negotiate with. There are no other money fights at or around your weight, but you had a choice. You could have fought him in 2019 instead of Porter. You could have fought him in 2020 instead of Danny. You could have fought him last year instead of Ugas. You chose that for yourself. And you can't compare that to Regis entering a tournament, or Usyk entering a tournament, or Canelo and what order he unified the titles in, because those were tournaments, and Caleb is the one who wanted to be saved for last. That wasn't Canelo saving him for last. That was Caleb saving himself for last to ensure that the fight would happen on his platform. Better still, it was still Caleb. You can't compare that to Errol Spence Jr. willfully going the other way for the last 5 years. For the last 5 years, you had a choice. The first excuse was that he was on the wrong side of the street. Yeah, that's bullshit. Because if that were true, we would have never got Wilder versus Fury 2. The second thing was, oh, well, let me clean up my side of the street first. Okay, you did that. Why are you fighting Keith Thurman now? If your fight is getting pushed out all the way until May, why don't you just skip that and go for Terrence instead? You say you don't take tune-ups, right? Well, what do you think fighting a fighter that ain't fought but once in the last 3 years is? This is not 2017. Keith Thurman ain't no elite fighter. Why are you fighting him instead of Terrence? Why is it at 154 instead of 147? We all know what you're about to do. You're leaving the welterweight division like I said you would in 2018. You're not going to fight Terrence. You're not going to unify titles with him. And all this is you trying to save face, because realistically, if it was your original plan to do the fight this year, it shouldn't matter if Terrence fights David Avanesian last year. What difference does it make? Y'all wasn't going to fight last year anyway. The plan was to do the fight this year, right? In the first or the second quarter. Then what do you care if he's tuning up with that guy? You say that Terrence is negotiating in bad faith because he was talking to Black Prime at the same time. Well, what the fuck do you call it that the PBC offered Errol to Canelo before they offered him to Terrence? It's obvious y'all wasn't trying to make the fight. Tim Smith, in his own words, said, we don't even think this fight will make money. But you boo-boo the fool that think they want to make that fight when the VP of communications is telling you, we don't think that anybody's going to buy this fight. We think that people are going to steal it. And that's why we hadn't made him a cash offer yet. We can't get him the kind of money that he wants because the numbers don't add up. But only Boo-Boo the Fool think they were serious about making the fight. They offered him the Ugas. They offered him Canelo. But the last guy that they offered him is the Terrence. And you wondering why. It's kind of obvious that for a fight this size, an undisputed title fight, 5 years in the making, the offer, no guarantee. It's obvious you're not trying to do a fight like that. Because when have you ever seen a fight that size negotiated for no guarantee? It's a cover story if it's anything, because I've never seen a fight like that negotiated under that pretense. Unless we're talking about Ward versus pretense. Unless we're talking about Ward versus. All right, his mic is bugging out.
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, but your mic is bugging out, and I'm not done. I'm not done. You got a whole 20 minutes to yourself without me saying a word. When have you ever heard what undisputed title fight, whether we talking about Shields versus Marshall or Taylor versus Ramirez or the upcoming Usyk versus Fury, when have you ever heard of an undisputed title fight, especially in the 4-belt era, negotiated on the pretense that there's no guarantee to the fighter? There's no guarantee. Every single one of Errol Spence Jr.'s opponents before Terrence Crawford got a guarantee, but Terrence doesn't get anything. And I'm intended to believe that they're negotiating in good faith when not but 12 months ago you said you don't think this fight is going to make any money anyway because of piracy. Well, piracy wasn't an issue when you made a fight with Danny. And piracy wasn't an issue when you made a fight with Ugas and Sean and Mikey. But when it's Terrence, all of a sudden we're scared that people are going to steal the pay-per-view, so we're not going to offer you any money. No, you made him an offer you didn't expect him to take. And guys like KO are using the excuse that, well, Terrence was negotiating with Black Prime at the same time. Yeah, so fucking what? The PBC offered Errol to Canelo before they even went into talks for Terrence because they didn't want to fight Terrence. It's kind of obvious. What is your retort? That, because this Canelo is supposed to be different? It means the same thing. You keep choosing other people over Terrence, even though you have a choice. The examples you used, those are tournaments. That doesn't boil down to choice. How the World Boxing Super Series, Regis and all the guys that he fought in there, Usyk and all the guys that he fought in there, that doesn't boil down to choice. That's a tournament format. How the fuck is that the same thing as Errol always choosing to fight somebody else? Always. Even now, you have a choice. You could go to the WBC right now and tell them, yo, you know what? I want to fight Terrence instead. I bet you they'll let you because you about to fight at 154. This ain't even a welterweight contest. It ain't no titles on the line. If you wanted to fight Terrence Crawford right now, you could, but you don't. You fighting Keith because you're not coming back to welterweight. And I put money on that. $50 says he don't come back to welterweight. $50. I bet you if he beat Keith, he don't move back down. It's your turn.
All right, couple things, bro, that you spoke on that we want to get to. So, number one, my point is not that he was negotiating with them at the same time was in bad faith. The point was that he told one side everything and told the other side nothing. So you tried that shit, but that ain't what I said, bro. So next time you want to try to rebut some shit, actually rebuttal the point that I'm actually making. Talking to two people at the same time, there's no issue with that. Hell, Tank Davis was obviously talking to Hector Luis Garcia and Ryan Garcia at the same time. But guess what? Both of them fucking knew it because he was negotiating in good faith. So the point, again, for all y'all in the chat, and for Ring IQ since he couldn't keep up or something, the point is not that Terrence Bud Crawford was talking to PBC and BLK Prime at the same time, that makes it bad faith. The point is that he was talking to PBC and BLK Prime at the same time and telling PBC nothing about negotiations with BLK Prime while telling BLK Prime everything with negotiations that he had going on with PBC. That's the point. Try to retort that. The point that I'm actually making. Now you're talking about. Now you're no, bro. Let me finish. Let me finish talking, bro. Let me finish. No, I'm talking about when I'm done. You can retort it, bro. Don't cut me off. I didn't cut you off. I thought we were having a respectful debate here. When I'm done, bro, I'll go on mute just like last time, and I'll shut the fuck up and let you talk, bro. But if I'm gonna be here, then I'm gonna get to talk, or I can just dip off, bro. Now, with the Terrence Crawford and where you brought up Earl Spence and Keith Thurman, what you fail to realize and what y'all don't want to talk about is that the only reason, and I'm gonna prove this to everybody in the chat, whether y'all like it or not, because I know y'all don't fuck with Earl. I know where I'm at. I know this a road game, but I'm still fucking it up anyway, bro. Fucking up everything y'all thought was gonna happen. But anyway, the only reason Earl Spence Jr. is fighting Keith Thurman is because of Terrence Bud Crawford. Now, Knockout, how can you prove that to us, Knockout? Because you saying some bullshit. Very easy work. Keith Thurman fought Mario Barrios in February. Earl Spence fought motherfucking Yordenis Ugas in April. After he fought Yordenis Ugas, did they go into negotiations with Keith Thurman? No, the fuck they didn't. They went into negotiations with Terrence Bud Crawford. They negotiated with that man May, June, July, August, September, all the way to October when Terrence Crawford announced his motherfucking fight with David Avanesian. Now, before I go any further, let me just say again, because he keeps bringing up this no guarantee shit. This no guarantee shit. I thought we were in the business of wanting fights. If I got one fighter that got no guarantee, and I got another fighter that got no guarantee, why the fuck am I gonna give another fighter an excuse for not signing a motherfucking contract? And he keeps talking about Errol Spence opponent, where every other Errol Spence opponent had a motherfucking guarantee. But what he's leaving out, because he tried to accuse me of leaving shit out and leaving truths out and shit. But what he's leaving out is that Errol Spence also got a guarantee in every one of his other fights that he ever had before Terrence Crawford. So is the PBC fucking over their own golden boy Errol Spence by offering him no guarantee also? Or they only fucking over Bud Crawford? So when both fighters get offered the same structure of deal, and one of them don't sign, but one of them do sign, one of them don't agree, but one of them do agree, I'm not making no motherfucking excuses for the dude that didn't agree. He a motherfucking duck, because you had the same goddamn agreement that this dude had. I didn't forget where I was, though. Let's keep going on the October shit. Terrence Bud Crawford, because the point we making, remember everybody, in case y'all too slow to keep up, the point we making is that Errol Spence is fighting Keith Thurman because Terrence Bud Crawford ducked him. Now, Terrence Bud Crawford announced his David Avanesian fight on October 20th. He negotiated with Errol Spence 6 months. It wasn't until like November 10th, or it might have been the 11th. Somebody feel free to fact check me. The WBC didn't order Errol Spence to fight Keith Thurman until November of 2022. On November 21st or 22nd, Errol Spence and his team went to the WBA, making sure that they were okay with him fighting Keith Thurman so he wouldn't get stripped by the WBA. This was back in November. So everybody use your motherfucking common sense. If their team is already going to motherfucking WBA asking can they fight Keith Thurman, don't you think that means that they might already have a fight agreement? And if that was always the plan, why didn't they order the fight and why didn't they negotiate with Keith Thurman for the 6 months that they was negotiating with Terrence Bud Crawford? They didn't start talking to Keith until after Terrence Bud Crawford announced his motherfucking fight. If Terrence Bud Crawford would have signed on the dotted line like we all wanted him to, so we can get this fight, so either I can be right and Earl beat Bud ass like I think he gonna do, or maybe Ring IQ is right and Terrence gonna beat Earl ass. I don't know. Everybody got their opinion until the motherfucking fight happened. If Terrence Crawford would have signed to fight Errol Spence would have never went into negotiations with Keith Thurman at all, bro. The only reason that they even talked about a fight was because Bud Crawford. And this is the funniest shit. The man Errol Spence told us on December 17th during the Michelle Rivera and damn, I gotta go, my son. I gotta go get my haircut. Here I come, hold on. That man told us during the Michelle Rivera and Frank Martin fight that he had a fight announcement. Now, what y'all think that fight announcement was gonna be? If he was ordered to fight the WBC, ordered to fight Keith by the WBC, he went to the WBA for approval in November. Then by December 17th, he said he was about to announce a fight but he got in a car wreck, and so the shit got pushed back. So he's doing the same fight that he's been working on since November. But y'all are cool with Terrence Bud Crawford pulling out of negotiations, not signing the fight, announcing another fight in October. But you want to get mad at Earl for going through with a fight that he only have to fight because of fucking Terrence Bud Crawford ducking him. That's all I got. If you want a real debate and you want more smoke, now you got to come see me, bro. This shit was real easy work. Enjoy the rest of your day, homie. You can't fuck with me, dog. Y'all boys be easy, man.
All right, you brought up a bunch of other irrelevant points. For starters, let me try to address the 100 points that he tries to make in 10 minutes. For starters, after their negotiations fell apart, Errol Spence Jr. said that he would spin around the block next year to revisit the negotiations. Did he do that? No. He petitioned the WBA and the WBC to allow him to fight Keith Thurman next. I should say the WBC ordered it, and then they petitioned the WBA for their blessing to get Stanionis to stand down. Right now, the fight with Keith Thurman is set to go down 5 months into this year. Could he swap that out for Terrence Crawford? Yes, but he's choosing not to. Terrence Crawford himself never said that he pulled out of negotiations. He said he was going to take a Keith Busy fight, and Al Heyman told him if you do that, Errol's going to move on, and they're going to fight Thurman instead. So I don't see how that equates to him ducking Errol Spence Jr. If the fight was going to go down this year anyway, then how is that a duck? If the original plan was for you to fight him this year, how is him fighting Avanesian a problem? How is that an issue to a fight that was going to happen the following year anyway? Moreover, I don't see why you can't revisit that fight right now if it's going down in May. You got 4 months to negotiate the fight with Terrence. You'd rather fight Keith Thurman. And Keith Thurman said immediately after his fight with Mario Barrios early last year that Errol would be next, before negotiations even started between Terrence and Errol. Keith Thurman already knew that they were going to fight, irrespective of the negotiations between Terrence and Errol. So I don't understand that. Karate Body says, remember Bud fought other PBC fighters while with Top Rank. So the side of the street talk is just a direct way to avoid the fight. He never addressed my point. I mean, what I see is he never addressed my point about how sides of the street are an issue if PBC was able to make a fight between Tyson Fury and Wilder. If sides of the street were really an issue, then we never would have got that fight. But by talking for 10 and 15 minutes nonstop, you get to avoid all the shit that I'm asking you. If sides of the street were a problem, then how is it that we got Wilder versus Fury too? That was a PBC and Top Rank fight, wasn't it? But when it's Errol and Terrence, Top Rank is an issue. When it's Fury, Top Rank is not an issue. But when it's Terrence, Top Rank is an issue. Take Top Rank out of it, we still don't have the fight. KO, fix your mic real quick. His mic sounds like it's underwater. Why did Floyd say Bud versus Spence wasn't happening? That's another thing. Before negotiations officially fell apart, Floyd Mayweather months before that said that fight is not about to happen. He said that to TMZ Sports. He knew the fight wasn't about to happen, and that was before the negotiations actually fell apart. I don't know if he's going to come back, but it seems that he didn't want to debate. He wanted to rant because he'd moved from talking point to talking point. He brought up Canelo Alvarez fighting Callum Smith instead of Caleb Plant, but never addressed that it was Caleb that wanted to go last. It wasn't Canelo. It was Caleb that wanted to go last. You can't use that as an example for Errol fighting other people instead of Terrence Crawford. How is that an example? Canelo went to Caleb first before he went to Callum Smith, before he went to Billy Joe Saunders. He went to Caleb Plant. How do you use that as an example for Errol fighting other people, choosing to fight other people? Go ahead, Cam.
Hey man, one love to the Ring IQ, man. One love to everybody in the chat. It's your boy Cam Edwards, man. One half of the Dudley Boys, Omaha, Nebraska, Fall 2 in the building, man. Yo, what was up with your man's with the?
Yo, you know, like he brought up a lot of shit that don't really have nothing to do with Terrence and Errol. And when I ask him, well, wait a minute, how you going to use that as an example when Canelo went to Caleb first? Regis went to Jose Ramirez first. It was Jose Ramirez's team that didn't want to fight. It was Caleb that didn't want to fight. How could you use that as an example for Errol choosing Sean Porter, Errol choosing Danny Garcia, Errol choosing Mikey Garcia, and choosing Ugas? How is that the same thing?
And what they missing too is, remember when Jeff Horn beat Manny Pacquiao? How eager was Errol to make the fight and unify with Jeff Horn?
It's literally the same thing that Ryan Garcia just did to Devin Haney. It's literally the same thing. When George won the belts, Ryan was ready to fight. But when Devin won the belts, now belts don't matter. Belts don't matter.
He preaching.
The same shit. Immediately after Jeff Horn won that belt from Manny, Errol was like, I got next. But when Terrence gets that belt from Jeff, nah. I gotta clean up my side of the street.
Side of the street, nasty fucking work.
And then what kills me with the side of the street bullshit is that, like you said, we got Wilder versus Fury 3 times. We got Terrence versus Callum 3 times. We got Errol versus Terrence 3 times. We got Callum versus Errol 3 times. We got Errol 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 Terrence versus John Molina Jr.
Terrence versus Felix Diaz.
We got Felix Diaz. We got and Sean Porter.
We motherfucking got Marcus Brown versus Artur Beterbiev. Top
Come on, man.
Like, and this is the point I'm making. He didn't address none of that. He just bounced from subject to subject. When I tell you that you can't use a tournament as an example for Errol choosing to fight other people, you move on to Regis. And I'm like, well, you can't move on to Regis neither. Regis went to Jose first. Because
hold on. I got another one too, IQ. I got another one, big bro. Remember this. Before the Manny fight fell through for Errol before the eye injury, remember it came out that Errol and Ugas already had a contract signed for them to fight after the Manny Pacquiao fight in the first place?
I think it was prior to, actually. I think
it was prior to the fight actually happening. They had already had a contract signed in advance for them to fight. Before the Manny fight got announced.
The point that I'm making is that for the last 5 years, Errol Spence Jr. has had a choice. And in spite of having a choice, he always chooses the other guy. More recently, which is the more brazen duck to me, irrespective of whether or not it's the biggest payday you could ever get, irrespective of that, how is it that the PBC was willing to offer you up the Canelo before they even started talks for Terrence? The talks for Terrence didn't start until May of last year. The Caleb Plant fight happened the year before that. And right after that fight, who did they offer Canelo Alvarez?
I don't know, bro. All I know is you won the boxing debate, but you lost the rap battle because what are you doing? Never better than back, and the brother is madder than mad, and the fat, the corrupt, the senator. I was gonna put a drum beat under it.
The dude want to talk for 10, 15 minutes nonstop, and I'm like, bro, I can't even remember what the fuck the dude said because you talking about 10, 15 minutes nonstop.
Hey, he turned into Nicki Minaj on you. He was right.
It sound like Immortal Technique or some shit like that. Like you got
sound like Busta Rhymes off a scenario.
Seriously. Listen, I'll tell you what, you're better than me, right? Because if I'm debating someone and we don't debate point by point, my head's gonna get discombobulated. I'm old. Right? 1 point at a time. This guy, never care about the brothers and sisters.
You know what was even funnier? What was the funnier part was he was actually sitting there acting like he was winning and doing something.
I ain't never seen no shit like that before. He said, "This easy work. You can't fuck with me." What point have you made, sir?
They dips that type of like, oh, if y'all want to, you got to come see me, bro.
My
like,
God, he the one that dropped off. He the one that dropped off 2 times.
Yeah,
twice.
Listen to me. He the one that dropped off 2 times. And he the one with all the like nervous energy and shit. Like, bro, like, and this has happened before that I'll shoot the guy a link, and what he wants to do is just ramble. Like, he just want to rant. You're not even debating. You just ranting.
Bro, very quickly. If you're debating someone and they don't want to debate point, that's because they're afraid of what's going to come out. The only choice they have is to make it chaotic. And a debate, listen, you can go anywhere, university, you debate point by point. You don't make 20 your points and then try to decipher it all.
No, let me tell you something. If I say something to somebody and I say it with confidence in my voice, I say, yeah, why don't you retort that? That means I'm very confident in what I just fucking said. You can't retort it. If I say, no, you can't talk. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to talk about the price of tea in China. I'm going to bring up, I'm going to jump from forget fighter to fight. This was jumping weight class to weight class. Okay, he was bringing up the weirdest shit ever. And just going on. This is what he called filibuster. And you keep talking and talking and talking. And if you talk for 10 straight minutes, the person you're debating is not going to remember every single thing you said. So you could go back and you could say, well, you forgot this. You didn't counter this point. What are you going to say about that? Well, if you feel confident about your points, then what you need to do is have an actual discussion. Okay. Right. If I talk to Ring IQ and I say, why don't you retort that, Ring? If I'm confident, I will shut up and allow him to hang himself if I really believe that it's a good point.
Right.
Exactly.
That's the word, right? Filibustering. Great word. Well
And
said.
the funny thing is, I don't know if it's just me, but Duke kind of looked like Southpaw a little bit.
Yeah, and can somebody tell me what camera always malfunctioning when he was leaning over looking at his phone every single time while Ring was talking? He wasn't even listening to what the fuck Ring was talking about.
Right.
Because you know what he wants? He wants a platform. Like he wants a platform, like he wants to get attention. Because I'm like, dog, you talking for 10 and 15 minutes. That's not like I don't even know.
He's gonna make a video. He's gonna go live. He's gonna be, oh, see what I did? I went on this platform. He had nothing to say when I talk. He had nothing to say.
And to make it worse, he had some of his little flunkies in the chat, and they're like, "Oh, he just put him in the dirt, and y'all just mad because he can't handle it." It's like, well, wait a minute.
The dude literally told me to retort, and when I go to retort, he said, "No, stop." Like, bro, like, he told me to retort. I'm trying to.
Yo, this is not a debate. You should have
Oh shit. My son, I gotta go get my hair cut. His mic should have been cut, not his hair.
And
right?
Ring IQ, he wanted Ring IQ to log out his own show so he could talk.
Basically, like you waiting for me to. Basically, like that. Like it's not a debate. It's you giving me a narrative. What I'm telling you is very simple. And when he fought Ugas, he had a choice. You could fight Ugas, you know, you can, or you could fight Terrence. You chose Ugas. You chose Porter. You chose Danny Garcia. Those were not tournaments like the ones that
he chose Mikey Garcia, bro. Like, why does Crawford need to go through all these hoops but Mikey didn't? Exactly. They make that fight quick.
Exactly. It didn't take a year and a day for you to do a fight that with a guy that had no strap at 147. You did that because you wanted to.
No strap, no pay-per-view experience. He never fought.
And then the Tater, like the Tater and Canelo examples that I hear a lot. I don't know if he said it because he ran it on too long, but like, okay, Canelo, like at 168, he did everything in a year. Like you can't even use that example. A Tater, I mean, he fought Ramirez. It didn't take 4 years to make this shit happen.
But the other thing is he brought up guys that were in tournament formats. The argument that he was making was, oh, how you gonna accuse Errol of ducking by fighting other champions when these guys fought other champions? But all the guys you brought up were guys in tournaments. You brought up Usyk.
The difference
he had no answer.
The difference is they were fighting in the tournament, so randomly you're gonna pick up other people. He was fighting other champions to duck Terrence.
Right? But I want to say this really quick before I forget. Really quick.
Here's the thing. Let me just say this quickly.
Sure.
This quickly. This is how you clean up the narrative, right? Spence doesn't struggle to make no fight except what fight?
This one.
Right. And right. Okay. And now we have to ask why that is. And we have all the answers. Other side of the street. Oh, communications, piracy. He's not a draw. This, that. Go with a belt.
Like what I see is he was moving from point to point without addressing the previous point or addressing the previous retort that you can't use guys that were in tournaments as an example for Errol because they were in tournaments. He wasn't. You can't use Canelo as an example or that he fought Caleb Plant last. He tried to use him as an example. Well, you can't use that as an example because he actually went to Caleb first. He went to Caleb before he went to Callum. He went to Caleb after that. Before he went to
Caleb had the nerve.
But even the time frame, even the timeline, like those things happen so fast, bro. Like compared to this situation.
Guys, what makes
Caleb had the nerve to tell Canelo to go and get straps and come see him. Caleb,
I just want to make this. I just want to make this point really quick because even he admitted at the very end, if you heard him, that it wasn't a real debate. He knows what he was doing because he said, "If you want to have a real debate, you come to my channel." So now he wants you now he wants to have a timer and a time frame and you make your point and my point. We'll do the real debate, but on my channel. This wasn't a real debate because you were ranting. You were filibustering.
Public execution.
Realistically,
that's what he's saying. Julius's A side, so you can't go on his.
That's what I was. Thank you, because that's what I was going to say. Like, listen, I'm not fucked up or mean or anything like that. I don't have a problem going on anybody's channel, right? But realistically, your channel is a lot smaller than mine, bro. Unless I'm making money, I'm not going anywhere. So you're gonna have to pay me.
And do you get to filibuster, talk nonstop, or they're gonna put you on a timer?
That guy's got a channel.
Yeah, he's got a channel. That's what this was all about. He wants attention for his channel. That's what it's all about. That's literally.
Yeah, even if they pay you, you should be able to do what he did and just talk as long as you fucking want, like the whole time.
Like I should get to talk for 10 minutes, bouncing from subject to subject and talking point to talking point, because that's what he did without addressing what I'm saying. You can't use Canelo as an example for Errol. Canelo went to Caleb first. You can't use Usyk as an example for Errol because Usyk was in a tournament. Regis was in a tournament. When I tell you that they offered up Errol to Canelo before they even entered talks for Terrence, you can't say, oh, it's Canelo, that's different. No, it's not different. It makes my point.
Use that as a justification.
The cash cow
so
of boxing crossed over and went to PBC.
That's ridiculous.
Think about it like,
go ahead, Chris.
The cash cow of boxing outside of Anthony Joshua crossed over and went to the PBC. The same thing that fucking Terrence Crawford was going to do for one fight. So it's okay for Canelo, but it's not okay for Crawford?
No, moreover, it doesn't. You're not changing what I'm saying by bringing up that Canelo's the cash cow. What did I say? That you choose to fight other people. You have a choice. You chose Mikey, you chose Danny, you chose Ugas, you chose Porter, and now you're choosing Keith. This all boils down to choice. So bringing up that Canelo is a cash cow, that don't mean nothing. It's still the same thing.
I want to make a quick point too.
What I'm saying is Canelo went over to the side of the street and did all that shit. Terrence Crawford was willing to do that shit, and they still chose somebody outside of him.
Exactly.
All right. If he's saying Canelo's a cash cow, so Errol's entitled to be swayed by Canelo being a cash cow. Isn't Terrence entitled to go get an $11 million purse?
Well, but a lot of the other points that he made in reference to the negotiations that they had, right? Terrence Crawford said it was Al Heyman's plan to do the fight this year. And when I ask you, well, then why should fighting Avanesian bother him? The fight was going to be this year anyway. Why are you fighting Thurman? If it was always your plan to fight Terrence this year, why should him fighting Avanesian last year bother you? When I asked him, Al Heyman told him, this is per Terrence Crawford, if you fight David, we're going to move on and we're going to fight Thurman. I didn't get a response for none of this shit I asked.
He skipped right over that.
I didn't get a response for none of this shit I asked. I'm like, yo, dog, according to Terrence Crawford, Al Heyman gave him an ultimatum. Basically, he gave him an ultimatum. He's telling him if you fight somebody else in 2022, Errol is going to move on. That's according to Terrence Crawford, and I don't think you know more about those negotiations than Terrence Crawford.
You know, it's funny. That's the same shit that Ryan Garcia was saying about Gervonta Tank Davis in them. If you fight Mercito,
it's the same shit they told Ryan that if you take a tune-up fight with Mercito Hesta, we're gonna move on.
We're gonna move on. Yep. But have y'all noticed the built-in excuse already? The already built-in excuse.
What was even funnier
Spence
was
fighting Thurman at 154, no belts on the line, but this was initially ordered to be a WBC mandatory for Errol, right? Now, if Keith Thurman wins, basically all it does is set up the rematch at 147 with all the belts on the line.
Well, I don't think he's gonna. My honest opinion, I don't think he's gonna lose to Keith Thurman.
But I don't think so either. I'm just in the event of an upset, there's an already built-in fail-safe excuse.
Exactly. But I'll say that, and I've been saying this for about 4 years. Well, 3 years, I'll say this. He's going to go to 54. He's not going to come back. And the excuse is then going to become, oh, well, Terrence needs to move up to 154, which is just going to repeat the cycle.
Errol could die in a car crash and beat Keith Thurman.
You know what was really funny?
And still,
at the end of the video, he had, my son's got to
get burning in the car and everything.
Out at the end, and it's like, dude, come on, man. You got to use that
like Earl could be incinerated. Okay, Earl could be incinerated in that car crash. And still the unified welterweight champion of the world.
Well, that's because Keith Thurman is a touch me not to the body. We all know that. Keith is a touch me not.
But Keith is explosive, and we do know.
Come on, he didn't look explosive.
Not anymore.
Look, it's obvious, and what I hate about these conversations is all the common sense is removed. That we're talking about a fighter who's fought once in the last 3 years. The night of the fight, the night of it in May, he will not have fought for over a year. So it's actually closer to one fight in 4 years. And I'm supposed to believe that he's explosive, that he's elite. That's just a plain old lack of common sense. You can't be elite.
I was about to say, for you to not take tune-ups, a fight with no belt on the line is as tune-up as a tune-up can tune-up.
Like you can't be elite in 2023 when the last time you beat a top 10 fighter was in 2017. The last time he beat a top 10 fighter was what, 5 years ago, maybe 6, close to 6. Danny Garcia. How are you elite today? Because you beat Mario Barrios and you didn't even knock him out. You decisioned him.
Don't forget he got dropped by Josecito Lopez. Don't forget he got dropped.
I'll be Vels, give me a full training camp. I'll beat the shit out of Keith Thurman. Facts.
That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. I gotta read the super chats because I know I missed a bunch of them. I know I missed a bunch of super chats listening to this guy.
They was all telling his ass turn his mic off. Hey, people was super chatting just to tell him to fix the mic.
Yeah, it sounded like he was underwater. It sounded like he was underwater the second time out.
His own microphone knows that
I just want to know why his camera never malfunctioned when he was ranting. That's what I want to know.
Hey, everything came in crispy and clear until it was time for him.
Ain't no technical difficulties when he's rambling for 15 fucking minutes, but as soon as I start, it's all type of issues and shit.
Please stand by.
I don't believe in coincidences like that. So
now this was something that I should have brought up because it's actually true that before negotiations actually fell apart, before we even knew that they had entered into negotiations, Floyd Mayweather told TMZ they're not fighting this year.
He said it 3 times, IQ. He said it 3 times last year.
Yeah.
So how was Floyd privy to that when they're supposed to be fighting? And this is the funny thing. What Floyd said corroborates what Terrence said. What did Terrence say? Their fight was not going to be in 2022. It was going to be in 2023. Floyd said they're not fighting this year. I could tell you right now they ain't fighting this year. That's what he told TMZ. So why am I supposed to believe that because he fights David Avanesian, a keep busy fight, that he's pulling out of negotiations? That's not pulling out of negotiations, fam. I'm keeping busy because we ain't fighting. It's common sense. I'm keeping busy this year because the last time I fought was in September of last year or October of last year. So since me and you not fighting this year, why should me fighting David Avanesian bother you? Why should that affect our fight if our fight ain't till next year?
What got me is how the naysayers all wanted him to speak on the actuals, like when he talked about the hedge fund company and stuff like that. They wanted him to mention who the hedge fund was, who it was from, why would you do that and potentially fuck up negotiations in the future? If the fight didn't take place now, it doesn't mean that you still can't negotiate in the future. The moment he starts doing that fucks up everything.
Well, another angle of the hedge fund, which I thought was interesting. Here you have a hedge fund that's willing to finance the fight at approximately $50 million. And according to Terrence, he said Al Heyman wouldn't let anybody touch the fight. And I found that peculiar because you're not guaranteeing him nothing. That's confirmed on both sides. Errol said he ain't getting a guarantee, and Terrence said he ain't getting a guarantee. So why wouldn't you want to explore a $50 million offer?
Because that makes Al look like he's giving up position. That makes him look weak, almost like. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
he is weak, nigga.
You know, no, but what I'm saying is from a position of business, and we notice even if Al is failing, Al will go out on his sword before he reach out for help and bring somebody else in, kind of shit. You feel what I'm saying?
Everybody already knows what I think. That set of negotiations, if I had to guess, just based on what happened, if I had to guess, that was a dog and pony show, bro. That was not a negotiation geared towards making a fight. It wasn't. There's no way.
It wasn't. They threw some bullshit out there hoping that Terrence wouldn't accept it.
Exactly.
And the moment he didn't accept it, they could run with the narrative, he ducked. But the moment he accepted the offer and said, all right, come on, let's do it. He basically pulled their whole card.
That's what I'm saying. They offer him with who got the mic with the people in the background?
Yeah, turn that off, man.
Who got people in the background?
I was like, mute that shit.
Now, what I see is that, okay, you offered him a deal you felt he wouldn't accept, so that when he doesn't accept it, you're going to blame him for it. And it's the same shit as the AJ shit. Why? Yes. You saying, yo, I got 50 mil for you, and then they ask you, okay, who's it coming from? And then you give them 24 hours to accept it. Ain't nobody going to accept that. Like, bro, I need to know where the money coming from because of my sponsors and my endorsements. I can't just accept any offer. I need to know where it's coming from. If you want to do a fight, let's talk. And what Wilder did, it's a 24-hour deadline. How you want me to accept it in 24 hours, bro? So that when I don't accept it, what you gonna do? You gonna blame me, right?
Oh, he ducked. He ran from the. Yep.
It's my fault.
Smoking mirrors, man.
This just has to be said. It's I don't blame Jules. Jules, I don't blame you, but you're trying to debate someone with the inferior intelligence that can't even follow a rubric.
Yeah,
I know, but I made money. You got to remember what.
No, I know. Other than the money, that's the only reason you do it.
You got to remember why I did it. I'm making money, bro. One way or another. I was gonna say
we cook casuals too. Fuck it. Look, we cook casuals.
Yeah, no, that's when some of the best material comes. Remember
we cook casuals, content creators. This cooking is equal opportunity. Don't get your ass in this ring if you know what you're talking about.
Who would have been sitting in his work truck?
Negotiations, right?
So
yeah,
you're
telling Terrence he can't get nothing off the gross. He wants some transparency so he doesn't get screwed over. And now, he was Terrence's because and see the guarantee. They keep saying Terrence, that Spence ain't getting no guarantee. Well, Al Heyman's his boy, so why do we care if he ain't getting no guarantee? Terrence ain't his boy.
Exactly. Like we're supposed to.
What's the real question is this? Is Liam Smith going to get turned into Nick Blackwell again, or does he make it the full 12 rounds?
No. I think Chris gonna knock him out.
He going to sleep.
I think Chris gonna knock him out. But back to the point, that's the other common sense angle of this that kind of gets lost. We're supposed to believe that Al Heyman is gonna look out for Terrence Crawford the same way he would look out for his own fighter. Like
I don't believe that at all.
A lot of it is common sense shit. Tim Smith starts off the year saying we don't think this fight is gonna make any money, which is why we haven't made Crawford an offer. You offered Errol to Canelo, however, but we supposed to believe that y'all was really trying to make this fight. We just supposed to believe that just because that's the story that y'all putting out there. I was serious about making a fight when everything I see is the opposite. This fight has been 5 years in the making. It's an undisputed title fight. We have seen 5 or 6 undisputed title fights. Show me one of them where the guys wasn't going to get no guarantee. Just show me one besides this one.
Fuck, you can look at the undercard and see guys get the guarantee. Like,
it's common sense arguments.
Look, when it came out that you're going to be working off the net, he needs transparency. That's 100%. That's 100%. Because there's a lot of expenses going. Where are they going? Where are they going? Where are they going?
What's so wrong with receiving transparent? What's so wrong with that?
For those that don't understand, not just the transparency issue, but him being able to approve things, you have to remember that if he doesn't have that power as a promoter, essentially, because that's how he would have been approaching the fight as one of the promoters. If he doesn't have that power, you could literally hide money from him, and he'd be powerless to stop you.
Yeah, because
it goes back to everything Jules said in the beginning. It's a dick in the booty deal, and they didn't expect him to take it. And what's going on right now is Stephen Fulton's proven that they never wanted it. If Stephen goes to Japan and takes that fight, they could have made this fight years ago.
Exactly. Yep. You could have mmade this fight with the same deal structure you used for Fury versus Wilder. When I told
you this question, guys. Do you think Al Heyman's going to block Fulton going into Japan?
I hope not.
He better not.
I hope not. I hope he doesn't.
If Stephen Fulton becomes mysteriously injured en route to the fight, you know what I think.
Not the classic. Not the classic.
Didn't we just see Hyun-Mi Choi do this to Alicia Baumgartner?
Yep,
they ordered you to fight her. All of a sudden, you got an injury. Bitch, you just what?
Errol just got hurt. Hey, that's funny. Errol just got hurt. Jamel just got hurt. Who else?
And get Broner can't
Now
fight.
say that happens, Jules.
Oh, Hank Lundy got suspended.
Look what I said when Broner pulled out of the Omar Figueroa fight. What I said, that man is not mentally nothing, bro. That shit is about money. Lo and behold, did you go see a psychiatrist? Did you go see a psychologist? No, it was about money.
You didn't call it mental health. You called it fentanyl milk.
I think Stephen wants to fight.
And didn't he already beat Figueroa once?
Listen,
Yes, he did.
I'm gonna say this. I would like to believe that he wants to fight. I would like to believe that. You know what I mean? I would like to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm cynical. Like, nah, a lot of shit could go wrong between now and May. A lot of shit could go wrong.
Once the PBC, you can't leave nothing to chance with these guys. You just can't.
Because they don't. This is the exact opposite of everything we've seen. That really you gonna go to Japan. Gary Russell didn't want to go to the UK for Josh Warrington, but I'm supposed to believe that you gonna go to Japan. Really? I gotta see it to believe it.
I believe you. I believe it when I see it.
You know what?
Stop dropping diamonds like this, bro. You gotta quit dropping these gems like this.
Because the shit is because you know what's sad. I would have picked Gary to beat the fuck out of Josh. It don't make no sense. And when you look at the time, Gary wasn't doing nothing at that time. He didn't have no fight. It took him months to get in the ring with Mark McTighe.
Yes, sir.
You turned down over $1 million to do what?
I reckon Josh would have headbutted Gary in his head and sent him back.
I think Gary.
He would have headbutted the shit out of. You see how big this motherfucker had? He's 126 pounds.
I think Gary would have won the fight, and
Gary
I'm like,
would have beat the shit out of him. Don't mean he won't get headbutted all in his face.
And the other shit is okay. Let's say that you're Gary and you want to fight, but you don't necessarily want to go to Matchroom. If that's the case and you don't like the money, like, well, that offer ain't shit. Where was Al Heyman with the counter offer? Like, bro, you trying to give me $1 million, I get more than that over here. Al, yo, you put the money up. You do the fight.
Why were you on barbershop conversations shitting on Al, but you won't take $1 million from Eddie? Eddie's done nothing to these black fighters at all, and they want to pull out the
except offer them career high paydays, and they want to
career high after career high after career high.
Why are you lying, Chris? Eddie called Tank ignorant. He can't speak.
He is.
He is. The funniest shit is that the way these negotiations or the way these offers, I shouldn't even say negotiations because they never really get off the ground, is you offer Jamal, you offer Jamal $7 million for Andre. If you're saying that offer's not real or whatever, where was the counter offer? What's the counter offer? Do it on Showtime then. Like, okay, because this is what Tom Brown said after that. Tom Brown said, oh, yeah. Andre said, okay, if you don't want to come to Matchroom, I'll come to you. And then Tom Brown spun the shit like, oh, well, of course you want to come to us because Eddie don't want to pay for you. Bro, he just offered to pay for the fight. He just offered to pay for the fight. And y'all didn't want to go over there. Okay, so I'll come to you. And no. Of course you want to put him on our channel because you don't want to pay for him anymore.
These guys need to get fucking renal failure and just wither away slowly.
The shit don't make no sense. I'm like, bruh, Gary could have won that Josh Warrington fight. In all honesty, Javante could have won that Tevin Farmer fight. In all honesty, the money was good. The money was real. If the money was real for Ruiz,
Tevin Farmer would have beaten Javante.
Hold on. If the money was real for Ruiz and the money was real for Danny Jacobs and the money was real for Mikey Garcia, why wouldn't the money be real for you? But what did Javante turn around and say? Oh, that shit ain't real. They was just talking. That's what Al told me. You boo-boo the fool. You would have won that fight. You would have beat Tevin Farmer. And you get to go back to the PBC a hero with 2 belts. If the money was real for Jose Ramirez, who they offered $4 million for a Mighty Mo Hooker fight, why wouldn't the money be real for you? It's all excuses.
I think Tank would have lost to Tevin Farmer. Everyone talks about, he didn't have the power to keep him off of him. But one thing I know is this. Tevin Farmer is very slick, and he's done that against all competition that he's fought. And the Aguayo fight where he got robbed, bro, I'm telling you, he made Aguayo look bad.
Let me say this. It's $7 million, my guy. You have to put it in $8 million because Eddie said I'll give you $8.
Breaking news.
Let me put it in the context.
Breaking news. Josh Taylor's out.
What?
Pull up Coppinger's tweet. Jules, broken a torn plantar fascia.
Oh, for fuck.
What the
That rematch is cursed, man.
Listen. Timetable for recovery is 6 to 12 weeks. 6 to 12 weeks.
Hey, boy, he's damaged goods. He's damaged goods.
Jack gonna beat his ass if they fight. Jack gonna beat him if they fight. He gonna beat him.
Oh my God, that's not good, bro. But let me say this: it's context. Gervonta Davis wasn't on pay-per-view yet. Gervonta Davis wasn't on pay-per-view yet, so we know that you're not getting $7 to $8 million a fight. They're offering you $7 to $8 million for a one-fight deal to come to their platform and unify titles, and you don't even consider it. It's not like it's Lomachenko. It's Tevin Farmer for $7 to $8 million.
I'm not talking about that. I agree with all of that. I'm talking about in terms of a fight. I think Tevin Farmer would have beat Gervonta Tank Davis.
Let me tell you. Can I tell you the funniest thing? Can I tell you the funniest thing? Right? Ramirez pulled out the Conor Ben fight because he said the purses ain't enough, and he told Eddie, he showed him up his purses. He didn't want Progress because of the price thing, but he's saying, the money I get from the money you got from Eddie, that's the biggest purse you got. It's the biggest hooker, isn't it? Surely.
Exactly. The biggest purse that Andy Ruiz ever got was from Matchroom. The biggest purse Jose Ramirez ever got was from Matchroom. So why wouldn't the money be real with you? It's excuses, bro. It's always
the biggest
been
purse that Deontay Wilder turned down was from Matchroom.
So when I see this Crawford and Errol shit, I'm like, bro, was they really trying to make that fight with that kind of deal structure? Absolutely not.
Chris, the biggest purse Gervonta Davis turned down was from who?
Matchroom.
Right.
Hell no. No.
There you go.
That's why I'm over it, Ring IQ. That's why I'm over it, because we came to a point where we tried to get this fight so long. Just let them guys have their own career, man. I'm over it totally. I like talking about it, but I'd rather them just have their way.
I'm ready for Crawford versus Ortiz.
Yes. I'm ready for that.
At the end of the day, I said it 5 years ago, and I've been saying it for 5 years throughout. Them dudes is not going to fight. They not.
I ain't gonna lie to you, Ring IQ. I don't see Virgil fighting, but I don't.
Look. I'll say this.
I'm glad you said it. Whoever said that, I'm glad you said it. I didn't want to sound negative. I don't see it.
I'm gonna keep it real, because Virgil's been the #1 contender since before Bud fought Porter.
Look. Let me lay this out for you. Here's the problem. It's not like Virgil has the alternative that Errol has, right?
That's true. But what they're doing,
let me lay this out for you. Errol has the alternative to move up to 154 because most of those guys up there is Heyman guys anyway. Virgil don't have that alternative. He don't have Boots as an alternative because Boots is exclusive to Showtime. He's not coming to the zone, and I don't think Oscar's going to send him to Showtime. So you don't have much. At 2 weights, you don't have no alternative for a big fight. The only fight you can have that's a big fight.
That's gonna beat the shit at you. No,
but that's why they're going. That's why they jumped in line to fights. That's why they went the WBA route, because they're trying to jump into this title eliminator with Stanionis and basically
so he can pick up that belt. But realistically, the Stanionis fight is not a big fight. Look,
it's not a big fight at all. But I feel like
if he beat him, right? Let's say he beats him, right? He wins his WBA Reggie, and he gets elevated to WBA full champion after that, right? All right, what you gonna do now?
He fights. I'm about to say he's in line to fight for Errol's belt. That's it.
But that's what I'm saying. Let's fast forward. Let's say you actually get Errol's belt. What you gonna do now?
Oh yeah, all roads lead to Omaha. You can't be undisputed until you come see that man from Omaha.
Let's really keep it a buck. I like Virgil Ortiz, but he's very basic and he can get hit.
How long Pacquiao have the belt before Japon got it? Seems like Terrence Crawford had the longest out of all of them. So I would want that belt about any of these boxers.
Let me ask you a question.
The longest. You see what I'm saying? It's just
and he's been super champ since 135. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Jules. What do you do if you're Jack Catterall? You're wasting your prime. You haven't fought in I don't know how long.
Yep.
I mean, look, this is the thing. If you Jack Catterall
on the block,
if you Jack Catterall, you probably take a tune-up, easier fight. But at the same time, remember if you Jack Catterall, there's no other fight that's gonna pay you what this fight pays you. There's no other fight.
Bro, Josh is damaged goods, bro. He's damaged goods.
He might.
Jack might win a rematch this time more decisively. He may.
Now, do you think it's a legit injury, Jules?
Actually, is plantar fasciitis. That's his, one at a time, fellas. Plantar fasciitis. That's his leg, right?
That's his foot.
Yeah, I think it's real. He got bad feet. The last injury was a foot injury. Like a knee injury is some bullshit. He got bad feet.
This rematch is cursed. This rematch is cursed.
He can't make 140 no more. And literally, I honestly think it's this. He can't make 40. At 47, I may have been talking a lot of shit that Catterall would have been good at 47. This fight is completely different. I'm telling you this. Josh Taylor, as much strain he's put on his body to make 140.
Peace, Julius. I wanted to let Dark Prince know how to get in the chat. I'm gonna get back in the chat for this fight.
I'm gonna say the reason I think that he's suffering these injuries, it could be because he's emaciated.
Severely emaciated.
He's emaciated. His nutrition ain't right. That like, yo, you probably can't keep making 140 and be fighting.
Well, if that's the case, Julie, is this the guy you're picking to beat Finn? To beat my guy?
Well, he didn't have a fucking injury yesterday, right? So we found out today that like, yo, this dude got another injury.
Now, but Jules, what's he gonna tell you now? You think Josh the wins, or just Jack?
Bro, it's you know what this shit is? It's hard for me to look at one fight with one guy that was never remarkable. Nobody was talking about no Jack Catterall till that fight, right? And you've never looked remarkable before that. So I'd sooner believe that something is wrong with him than something is right with you. You've never been remarkable. It's like George Kambosos. You just caught the perfect version of this guy. You caught the perfect, because any other time he would have beat you. Any other time,
but he would have laid you the fuck out, not beat you.
Like this, that's facts. Because it's like when I saw George versus who he fight before, Lee Selby, I wasn't impressed.
That's what I'm saying. Like when was Jack Catterall the guy? You was only the guy in that fight.
Was, but just
and let's go further. Let's say they do have the fight. They're both out the ring 16 months. That's gonna be a fucking tune-up fight.
Rust fest. It's gonna be a rust fest.
Now let's say this also. The problem for Jack is no other fight is gonna pay you what this shit is gonna pay you. So I mean, you could go in there with Regis if you want to get the shit beat out of you. If that's what you want, to get the shit beat out of you, you go in there with Regis. You know what I mean?
If you're a fan, Regis gonna dog walk that man.
But would you be mad as a fan if Jack says, okay, just pay me $300,000 for a quick tune-up?
Take a couple of light ones and wait and hold John to Josh to that fight. Hold him to it.
Yeah, like all I could see is maybe he could fight a good domestic level guy in a keep busy fight, and maybe they reschedule it for I don't know, man, for the fall, because it's like, bruh, it don't look good, bro. Like I'll go as far as saying that maybe it don't happen.
Wow.
This is the problem. This is the problem. If you judge.
Julius, he never wanted. What did I say? He never wanted this fight. He was forced into.
That's not what I'm saying. That Beats. That's not what I'm saying. That I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying, though.
But let me say this. Let me say this. I'm saying that because if you, Josh, the last time you fought was in the first quarter of last year. The first quarter of last year, and you telling me that you're gonna go into this one with no tune-up. It's been over a year since you fought. Nah, you probably gonna want a tune-up. But Jack probably gonna want to tune up. Why? Y'all ain't make no money in the last 12 months. Neither of you made any money. So are they really gonna reschedule this fight? And will it even be for the WBO? It might not be. The mandatory might come up. I think it's Liam Botto. I'm not sure at 140. I'm just looking at it like, yo, are they actually gonna fight? And I don't know, man.
Leopoldo was scheduled to have a fight. Was it for an interim belt? Who gets the guy?
No, but if he wins, right? If he wins, what I'm saying is in the third or the fourth quarter, how do we know the WBO doesn't order Josh to fight him?
Man,
how do we know?
Let me
Funny question. What are we gonna get first?
Shit at 140 no more. He can't do shit. His only hope is to move up. He can't do shit at 140. He knows it. I know it. You just said it, right? Right, he can't make the weight safely.
Yeah, but it's not. It's in other words, yes, circumstances are fucked up for Josh. But the circumstances are also fucked up for Jack. He hasn't fought. He hasn't fought. Neither one of them has had to make 140 in damn near a year.
Bottom line, Jack's got to get on with his career. He needs to do something.
Hey, I got to ask you guys this: if Jack Catterall would have punched dude in the back of the head and miraculously won by knockout, you think he should have done that? In hindsight, we know he wasn't going to get the decision. Like, you remember when he dropped in the last time and he hit dude kind of straight to the back of the head?
Yeah,
he should have punched him a little further down. He probably would have fought, man.
It probably would have disqualified him.
I mean, he'll probably end up fighting like Florian Marku or some shit, bro. But
he could beat Florian Marku. He could beat Florian Marku.
But bro, everybody beat Florian Marku. Everybody beat that. But it's hard to it's kind of like the Charlo thing, bro. Because I don't actually think Jermell is gonna fight Tim Tszyu. I don't think it's gonna get rescheduled. We'll see if it does, but I don't think it is, because it's like, yo, you've been out since the Castaño fight. You haven't had to make weight. You haven't had a tune-up.
He's going to have a tune-up or whatever you don't want to call it.
Well, not even that, Jules. Your timeline has happened. You call. Look at Thurman, Spence, this, that. It's all lining up for them to all move up.
They are, yeah. Like, I feel like Jermel's next fight is probably going to be at 160. Jamal's next fight is probably going to be at 168. You see how it's all happening. That Spence is going to 54. Now I'm waiting for Jermell to go to 60, and after that, I'm waiting for Maul to go to 68. They doing it,
and what it looked like is everybody is trying to position themselves to win the Canelo sweepstakes.
Exactly. I'm like, when I look at that, I'm like, bro, is Josh Taylor really gonna come off of over a year layoff, an injury, to fight Jack Catterall? Probably not, bro. That shit probably don't happen.
I put the videos there. I didn't pick him to win, but I said this fight is gonna be problematic to him. I knew this fight. I knew that Jack Catterall fight was going to be problematic.
We can't act. I feel Jack got lucky, bro. I'm going to be real. I feel he got lucky. You just got the right version of that dude, bro. Honestly.
I just think Taylor can't make the weight anymore, and you could see it.
Well, I think that because he's still trying to make the weight, he's malnutritioned and it's showing up in his bone density. That's what I think.
And Steve Camp just said, like, it's just is more proof that fighters overtrain more and instead of fighting.
I don't care about that. He just wants to beat his ass. You know what I mean?
But I have a question. This dude vacated the IBF, the WBA all last year. Why did we have to wait till this year for the rematch?
I know.
Because he didn't want to fight.
Like, you really think he was ducking?
Yeah, he didn't want to fight, bro. He didn't want to fight.
I mean, Beats is right. Beats, you're right. Beats is right. You said it earlier. It's like he was pressured into this rematch. He originally didn't want to do it.
I don't know, man. It's hard for me to look at an undisputed champion like he ain't shit off of one fight. Because that's what we saying. He ain't shit off of one fight. Forget Regis. Forget Ryan Martin, O'Hara Davies, Jose Ramirez, the dude that traveled to America to become undisputed. He ain't shit because of Jack Catterall.
Correct.
Well, maybe now. I mean, maybe now he ain't shit, but before he wasn't.
Boxing history is littered with it. Max Schmeling ain't shit compared to Joe Louis, but he was studying Joe for a long time. First person to use film allegedly.
And Jack Johnson sold out.
Right.
On some cool shit. On some cool shit. Let's call it out. Some real cool shit. Right?
Jack's been obsessed with Josh. He was obsessed with the fight, bro. And he had how long to get that fight was supposed to be 2019. And I wrote all that down in the breakdown. I wrote it all down. I said that fight would be problematic.
Hey, do you think they'll strip Taylor of his title?
Yeah.
They have to. Inactivity.
They have to, because the next mandatory. Look, if Liam Pato wins his next fight, they're gonna call that mandatory by the end of the year, and I don't think Josh gonna fight him.
And if so will he fight Jack for the vacant belt? You think?
No, I think that if Josh Taylor's gonna go through with this rematch, it won't be for no belt.
Damn.
That's what I think. It won't. If he actually does it, it won't be for no belt. It'll be for bragging rights. It'll be for honor and shit.
And it won't be at 140 either.
Probably won't.
That's some bullshit though, because Jack Catterall deserves that. Because objectively speaking, we may not like this unremarkable motherfucker, but on that day he was supposed to be the undisputed junior welterweight champion.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
That from him, and that's wrong. That's wrong because ultimately he allowed this motherfucker to fight Ramirez for fucking undisputed.
Yes, he did.
And he was threatened if he did it, his career would be stalwarted. Just for him to fight the fight of his career, and just for him to get robbed.
But Bob gonna get Teofimo or Jose, that BO. That's what I see.
Yeah, there we go.
Get Teofimo or Jose. He might do a fight between them in the summer for the BO. That's what I see. Because if Bob ain't gonna do nothing else, he gonna get his fighters that WBO title. If nothing else,
maybe they both can fight each other for the vacant belt.
Exactly. That's already the plan anyway.
That's the plan, yeah.
It's already the plan anyway. If this dude beat Comey, and I think he's going to, they're going to do Teofimo versus Ramirez in the summer.
I'm about to say in the summer for the vacant title. I can see that.
What if Comey slump?
Then I'm going to fucking laugh.
Hell yeah. I hope he does. I hope he does knock his ass out.
Because that's a fucking cherry pick, bro.
If he knock his ass out, like that's what you get for
That's a cherry pick, bro.
You ain't gonna like what I'm gonna say, but all the time I'm hearing Josh Taylor talk about this rematch, I'm not feeling it, Josh. I haven't felt that I'm not feeling. I haven't felt it. Not like when he wanted to fight Prograis. Not when he wanted to fight OD. Not when he wanted to fight Baranchik or Postal. I'm not feeling it. I wasn't feeling it. It didn't come no shock to me. I was talking to you yesterday. He didn't want the fight. Is that true?
Once he got jabbed in his face by Catterall within the first couple rounds like that, and he was getting peace with that 1-2 all night, he felt some type of way. It's like, hey, this motherfucker shouldn't be able to do that to me. His ego got in the way of it, and he boxed a terrible fight, and that was probably because he couldn't make 140.
Listen. Let me address Shelton. What I had was a very nervous individual that would not stop rambling. That's the debate. A dude that would talk for 10, 15 minutes straight, bouncing from subject to subject to subject without addressing the shit that he said before. That's what we had.
He didn't want to debate. He didn't want.
You wanted to talk. You wanted a bigger platform than yours so that you could talk. I made money. You got to talk, but you didn't convince anybody.
And we, the viewers, got to be entertained.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he used his son having a haircut to get off
as an
live,
excuse.
You know?
He dropped off the live. He dropped off. He dropped off the live 2 times, having all these technical difficulties. I'm like, who's your service provider, bro? Why does everybody always have technical difficulties with me? Who is your service provider?
Y'all want to know? Y'all don't know why his mic was messed up, because even his mic knew he was full of shit.
Yeah, but like I was saying though, I think Liam Smith is going to get damn near Nick Blackwell. Here's why: his fighting style fits so perfect
for Chris.
But Chris, we don't want that to happen. We don't want that to happen. Hopefully that doesn't happen though. We don't want that to happen.
No, but it's a match made in like he does all the things that Chris needs to knock you the fuck out.
Yeah,
but you can't just call a man a body fish like that, knowing where he come from, and you know how he played it up.
But he's a junior middle at best. Liam ain't no middleweight, bro. Liam ain't no
middleweight. I be bullied him all around the ring, man.
Yeah, he at 54. I would like him versus Tim Tszyu. I like that fight. And
that's a real good fight. That's a real good fight.
Real good fight. But at middle, I'm like, I look at middleweight, as shitty as it is right now. Munguia already beat you. Would you beat that Brazilian kid, that southpaw? No, you don't beat that dude.
No, we don't want that.
Would you beat Golovkin?
Nah.
Definitely don't want that.
Would you beat Charlo? Nah, you don't.
Hell no.
I don't even like Charlo. I don't like Maul like that. But no, you don't beat him. So I'm like, bro, like
this. Johnny Beck? No.
Nah, he don't beat Johnny Beck, bro. He don't beat.
Would he beat Denzel Bentley? No.
Denzel's a real middle. You see what I mean? That's a real middle. The dimensions. That's a real middle. Liam at best is either a big welterweight or a moderately sized junior middle.
I mean, he's not even big. He's not even big by 154 standards anyway. Like
he's not a big junior middleweight. Like Tony Harrison is a big junior middleweight.
He's a big junior. That's a big ass 154.
Liam looked like he at or around Tim Tszyu, like around there, like you're not a big junior middleweight, but you're not a little junior middleweight. You know, you ain't motherfucking who's this guy, man? Who's this guy?
The junior middleweight I've ever seen was Jared Hurd. I never understood how motherfucker like 6'2" and that fucking
Nah, Alantez Fox. Willie Wilson.
Yep.
Nah, but that dude was probably like 185 during fight night, or probably beating up on Eslandi Lara like that.
Look, a lot of the guys at junior middleweight, and I don't like to say it because it sounds like the weight bully argument, but a lot of them guys really belong at 60 or 68. They do. Like
Jared did for sure.
You 6 foot. Willie Nelson was 6'2" out here, 154 pounds. You 6'2", bro. Tony Harrison, he should be at middleweight.
And what Boo Boo did to him, bro? Boo Boo beat dog shit out.
He did beat the shit out of him. But I'm just saying that, and I don't like to use the weight bully argument because everybody's doing it. But what you really have at 154 is a lot of middleweights that don't want to fight middleweights.
Let's put it this way, yeah. Let's just put it this way. If this was 84, before Eddie Mustafa couldn't make the weight, these guys wouldn't be fighting at light middle.
Yeah.
Same day weighing, no way. No way, Jose.
And a lot of them, if you look at the span that Shakur Stevenson has moved up in weight, or Vasyl Lomachenko has moved up in weight, a lot of them guys at junior middle have been there the whole time. Like, bro, when are you going to move up? What are you waiting for?
Tommy Hearns moved up right after the first Sugar Ray Leonard fight. He wasn't even at 154 for that long. He moved up to 160 after, I think he moved up the first time to 60 to fight Hagler, moves down. He fights more. He has a couple fights at 60, moves down to fight Mark Meadow, then goes back up to 75. Like, these guys moved up in weight. Like, they knew that, my body cannot be at this weight for too much long, because if I can't make this weight anymore. Like, for example, Tony Harrison lost to Jermell Charlo because he couldn't make 154. It's not because Jermell Charlo was better than Tony Harrison. I think if they fight that fight at 160, I think I'll choose Tony Harrison to park dude.
I'll say the reason that I think Tony doesn't take a great punch is because he's at 154 and he shouldn't be there.
I don't think he takes a good punch.
If it seems that his punch resistance just isn't very good, I think it's because he's emaciated. Let me address the super chat. Marcus said, I'm a pass the fight. I wouldn't take 50-50. I wouldn't take that fight. If we're holding on to words, those are Bud's words. Why we don't believe him? Well, because he just told us he was willing to accept no money down. He just wanted transparency. But if we're going to use words, Errol Spence Jr. said that he wouldn't take the fight unless it's 90-10. I remember Errol said that.
That's some nasty ass shit for you to
60, 40, 70, 30, 80, 20, or whatever we give it.
Yeah, like we can't.
90-10. This nigga wanted no smoke with Terrence.
That was when he was in the kitchen. That was when he was in the kitchen with the joint, and you could see that he was saucy. He was like, y'all better stop playing or I'll make it. I think it was 80-20 and 90-10.
Yeah, 80-20.
Yeah, he kept playing right.
80-20.
I mean, but fellas, I got a strong feeling. I got a strong feeling. Let's just say, Bud.
What?
But right quick. Well, let's just say, Bud, that he accepted. Like, okay, he signed with no guarantee, and let's just say he never asked for transparency. I strongly feel the PBC would have found another roadblock to put in his way to prevent the fight from getting.
Bro, like I said, you offered a dude for a fight that's been 5 years in the making. It doesn't get said enough that it's ridiculous. This fight is 5 years in the making. It's an undisputed title fight. How could there be no guarantees?
Thank you.
That doesn't make sense.
So he accepts that. All he wants is transparency. But even if he never asked for that, I strongly feel they would have put another roadblock in his way.
I got another thing too.
Here's the other thing that doesn't get said enough. At the beginning of last year, before Canelo versus Golovkin, the same people that are saying Bud doesn't sell shit and they were right not to give him a guarantee because he doesn't sell shit, the same people that are saying this now are the same people then who were saying this fight is bigger than Canelo versus Golovkin 3.
Yes, sir.
Same people.
Yes, sir. And these are the same people calling Javante Tank Davis a cash cow, and he only sold 61,000 fucking people.
I remember Eddie saying
fucking nasty world we live in. Bro,
Eddie was saying it recently that some of Joshua's fight and Fury, they weren't getting a guarantee because they knew what was coming back. So the guarantee ain't always necessary, but in this situation here, the PBC ain't got them type of fights.
No, but that's because I did hear that Eddie Hearn said that about certain a Joshua fight, I think it was. But I'm like, well, when is Errol Spence Jr. opponent ever fought Errol for no guarantee? Why do you wait up until Terrence Crawford to offer a deal like this? Why this deal structure for this fight?
And notice the guarantees got the guarantees and the purse splits got smaller and smaller the closer and closer he got to undisputed. He fought Mikey for his highest payday. He fought Mikey for $7 million and a 50-50 pay-per-view split.
How nasty that has to be for Errol Spence. Their biggest pay-per-view split is against a guy that was a blown-up featherweight you couldn't knock out, and he was the one that got the majority of the people to watch him, right? That shit is sad, ain't it? Like, and you talking all this shit about Terrence Crawford.
Bro, it's like
that's the makings of a manufactured champion. That's what happens when you're trying to manufacture a guy and make him into what you think could be potentially be a boxing superstar or a rock star. You're not even giving him legacy fights where he's getting belts. You're name chasing.
Marcus asks, if they're both saying the same thing, then how is only one a duck? Well, isn't Errol Spence Jr. on camera saying he's going to go the easy route and fight Sean Porter?
Yep.
Hello.
Just asking.
Hello.
I'm just asking.
Hey, and in that same video,
isn't Errol Spence Jr. what I characterize as the duck?
And he said it after he told him to get a belt, and then when he did, I can go the easy route and fight.
What I characterize as the duck from the very beginning, what Errol Spence Jr. told Terrence Crawford before he even arrived at 147, he told him get a belt first.
Yes, sir.
He then said, well, let me clean up my side of the street first. You're on the wrong side of the street. That's another duck. He's not on the wrong side of the street. PBC has made fights with top-ranked fighters. Wilder versus Fury, Crawford versus Molina, Crawford versus Diaz, Brown versus Vosdick versus Stevenson, and Brown versus Betterbeef. It does happen. So that's not an excuse.
Crawford versus Porter.
Right, the sides of the street thing is not an excuse. Sean Porter, which is a more recent example, that if you wanted to do the fight, you would do the fight. Sides of the street is not a reason to not do the fight because they made Wilder versus Fury.
I will say this though, IQ. I will say this: in that same video, he did tell Bud what Al's plan was for him at PBC. He listed off all the names that Al had for him to fight. And none of them was Terrence Crawford.
And my guy, what did Terrence say? Oh, he didn't mention Terrence. No, he didn't.
Facts.
No, he
That's
didn't.
the other thing that it's like these are rhetorical questions because we all saw that video. We all
the world saw that.
You know what's scary, right? We're quoting all these fucking red flags on Errol. And they're still arguing. Like with the, you know, see with AJ and the DAZN deal. You know what they said with AJ and the DAZN deal.
Think about that, bro.
Let me just finish. Hold on. Here's what they said with AJ and Wilder, right? They said Wilder didn't take it because AJ is not included in the 120 million. So they believed, right, that the DAZN was going to pay Wilder 120 million to fight Luis Ortiz, Dominic Brazil, and Kalinaki. That's how deluded they are.
What the fuck? Why the fuck
the hell?
All that money? Like
AJ was the main incentive for that deal.
Look, I remember this. That at the time, that was the narrative that they went with. That for whatever reason, Joshua wasn't part of the deal, so that Deontay Wilder can turn around after the Fury fight and say they offered me more money for Joshua than you. So clearly, he was part of the fucking deal.
And the worst part is the Bronze Bumpkin actually turned around and turned down 120 million.
He turned down $100 million fight to fight.
How do you do that?
Yo, I can never. I
always come back to
want Joshua fighting Wilder because you fucked up the biggest bag in boxing around
probably in boxing history.
I always come back to this, and I'm gonna pass it to Marcus because Marcus wants to, he wants to have a discussion, and I'm willing to have it with him. Always come back to this though, that maybe you would have beat Joshua. Maybe it's the heavyweight division. Stranger things have happened. Maybe you would have beat him. Maybe you would have lost. But here's what I know. Hold on. Here's what I know. Whether you would have won or you would have lost, you would have got 2 huge fucking paydays out of it. You yourself admitted that it was for more money than the Fury fight. So you fucked up, bro. Maybe you would have won. Maybe you would have lost. but you would have got more money. And I thought this was prize fighting.
And I think he would have knocked at that time. I think he would have knocked Joshua out. Joshua had a glass jaw.
We can agree to disagree on that. Now, Marcus, go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, man? I appreciate you letting me join. First time listener. I'm subscribed. I appreciate the debate.
Welcome, Marcus.
How you doing? Yeah, so I just wanted to add my contrast and my perspective. I would say I'm more on the casual side of boxing. I'm not no diehard fan, but just following the conversation, listening to both sides of the talking points and the narratives. My question was, if we're gonna go by, everything that Errol Spence is saying, it's you kind of got to do it both ways. I like both fighters, but when I hear Bud Crawford say he's past the fight, it's hard for me not to believe him too. You know what I mean? So I get what you're saying about Errol said this, Errol said that, but if we're gonna hold fighters accountable for what they're saying, then I gotta hold both of them accountable for saying that in the press. You feel me?
Now, my retort to that would be, while you can hold both fighters accountable for what they're saying, I look at what they're doing. That's what I look at.
Yes. I was about to say, whose actions told you that they were really trying to make this fight? Because I'm going to keep it real.
I want to give Marcus an example, right? This is an example that's playing out in front of all of us, right? Bozy and Jaron Boots Ennis say that they want a Crawford fight. They say that, you know what I mean? That's what they're saying. But what eliminators have you been fighting in? Are they WBO eliminators?
Nope.
You've been
they petitioned the IBF twice.
Has Terrence been setting the offers from you guys?
Nope. Now here's the other.
In the WBO, the 1, 2, and 3 can challenge the seat.
One at a time. Now, you say you want a Crawford fight, but you're not getting in line for Crawford's belt. That's the first problem. The second problem, you were actually ranked at number 1 very recently, number 1 or number 2 via the WBO. But because you keep fighting in IBF eliminators, now, since you're interim champion, you're not even ranked by them anymore. So you can't become as mandatory. But you're telling me that you want a Crawford fight. Okay, I'll leave that alone. Maybe you just want to get in line for the red belt. Whatever, fine. Has Showtime made Crawford an offer to fight you? Because if you want to fight him, you're exclusive to Showtime. He's a free agent. He can go where he wants. He could go to Black Prime. He could go where he wants. He's not exclusive to a network. But you are. So if you want to fight him, has your promoter, Cameron Duncan, or the platform you fight on, Showtime, have they made Crawford an offer to fight you? No. So you could jump on camera and tell ES News or Marcos Villegas, you can say whatever you want. Fighters often do. But what I see you're doing is you're getting in line for a vacant title. That's what you're doing.
Facts.
That's what you're actually doing. Jaron Boots Ennis very recently said that because the Thurman fight is at 154, he doesn't think that Errol's coming back down. But wait a minute. If you don't think he's coming back down, what are you really doing by fighting in these IBF eliminators then?
Yeah, why are you petitioning the IBF to fight Errol?
Was that a whistle?
Logic.
Yeah.
Stop using so much logic.
Common sense. What I've maintained, and this is my opinion. This is me. I maintain that Jaron Ennis knows that he's not going to get Errol in the ring. He always knew that. While he was fighting in eliminators with Custio Clayton and Karen Chukatsian, he knew that he wasn't going to get Errol in the ring. But if you know that, why are you fighting in eliminators for his belt? Because you want a vacant title. You don't want Terrence Crawford. If you wanted Terrence Crawford, you would go the WBO route because that's how you can get him. You can force him to fight you.
Yeah, he could have petitioned the WBO the same way he petitioned the IBF, and the WBO would have mandated that fight because in the WBO, the 1, 2, and 3 can challenge the C.
How that pertains to the conversation that we're having is I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to what's being said. I pay attention to what's being done. So Errol, you're the reason that you wanted to save that fight for last. You already admitted that, but you actually did that. That's the way that everything played out. You didn't have to fight Ugas last year. That could have been Crawford. In all honesty, that could have been Crawford. Ugas doesn't have the same profile that Crawford has. Ugas is not rated as highly as Crawford. And Ugas was already under orders to fight Stanionis. You got Tom Brown of TGB to petition the WBA so that he would be able to fight you when you could have just went into negotiations with
Didn't they? And also, too, may I remind, didn't they get Stanionis to step aside twice?
Yes, Lord, they paid him twice to step aside.
They did.
Right?
Now it's Marcus's turn. Let Marcus go. Marcus go.
Yeah, respectfully, like I appreciate y'all stacking up y'all points, and like I said, I'm here to add contrast. It's not that I disagree with everything you're saying. So just to try and rebut the few things that you brought up, I agree with you with the Duran Ennis situation. I like to go by what fighters do, not by just what they say. So that's pretty much my point. As far as the debate, I don't really care what the fighters say, but if we start holding one fighter accountable for what one fighter says, then I got to look both ways. You feel me? So that was my whole reason saying that. But sorry.
Well, Marcus, let me ask you a question real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you remember a while back when Bud petitioned the WBC to get in line to become Errol's mandatory?
I do.
Now that to me looks like a fighter actively pushing to try and make the fight happen. Can we say the same that we've seen Errol do the same thing?
I could say that if Bud truly believed that that was a possibility, then I would say that's 100% a factual move, factual proof that he's actually trying to make the fight. I can agree with that.
I'll say this, which to me is kind of, it doesn't get said enough. Terrence Crawford chose to sever ties to Top Rank on the premise that Top Rank could not get him the Spence fight. Remember that when he left Top Rank, what he said was, well, if I couldn't get the Errol Spence fight with y'all, you know what I mean? Then I'm out of here, basically.
Thanks.
So you severed ties to your old promoter so you could do what? Get the Spence fight. You started talking to Spence. It's on Spence and Al Heyman, no matter what gets said by the fans, it's on them to do the deal. It's on them to offer him a deal that makes the fight. If you the A side and you the big fish and you're he's a free agent, so you can't rely on him to do nothing. He's a free agent. He doesn't have a promoter. You're the one with Showtime. You've got the promoter. You've got the network. Make the fight. Now, what I see is you pursued every other avenue. You were even willing to offer him the Canelo. Who honestly believes if he would have got the Canelo fight that he would have fought Terrence Crawford?
Oh, they would have forgot all about Terrence. They forgot all about.
They would have forgot all about him.
I mean, I can agree. Me personally, right? I don't think that the Errol Spence and Bud Crawford fight is the biggest fight in boxing. I don't think it's the biggest fight for Errol Spence either. So yeah, if you could land the Canelo fight, that makes sense. I mean, it is what it is.
Marcus, I don't disagree with your logic. All I'm saying is that because you were pursuing a Canelo fight, you weren't pursuing a Crawford fight. How do I know? You pursued Canelo before you even started talking to Crawford. So what if Canelo would have said yes while you were pursuing him? Well, there goes the Crawford fight. If Canelo would have said, yeah, I'll fight you. What, 160? I'll fight you. The Crawford fight dies. And which fight what did they pursue first? They pursued Canelo first. Immediately after the Plant fight, they offered him a deal, a 2-fight deal. They gave him 3 names. The 3 names were David Benavidez, Jermall Charlo, Errol Spence Jr. Assuming that Canelo would have took that deal, we don't even get to this point. Crawford versus Spence dies right then and there.
We have to see
like I said, I agree with that, and that could have very well been the case. But we also got to look at the fact that Manny Pacquiao and Bud Crawford were definitely deep in negotiations, and to finish my point, like I was saying, it definitely seems like with the fighters that were on standstill, like a Duran Ennis and Keith Thurman, it was clear that they were trying to make something happen and that they were going along with the plan. Now, Duran Ennis probably was never going to fight Bud Crawford. You could say that that's a fight you want, but he didn't actually go ahead and put himself in that position. I mean, he was a top-rated guy, but doing something and saying something are totally different, like you said. But then my last point would be, you can't say that Errol Spence wasn't serious about negotiations, because at the end of the day, whether the offer would be respectable. Some might say it was disrespectful. There was an offer on the table that could have been accepted. And at the end of the day, you could always put somebody on check just by making the fight happen. If he would have signed and said, okay, I'll accept those terms, the fight is on, there's nowhere for Errol to run. You know what I mean? So you can't say that they were completely BSing.
Well, Marcus, I would disagree with this. Terrence didn't reject their offer. According to Terrence, he was given an ultimatum. He was basically what he said is, okay, well, since you guys want the fight to be in 2023, I'm going to take a keep busy fight in 2022. He didn't reject their offer. He said, okay, I'm going to keep busy, at which point he was given an ultimatum. That's according to him. Whether you believe it or not is up to you, but that's according to him. And Al told him, well, if you do that, we're going to move on and we're going to fight Keith Thurman.
I'll have to do my research on that part if I did miss it. But my main question was, if they knew, like, okay, let's say Bud Crawford is 100% right. He wants to get his fight in for 2022. You can't truly be mad at that if you're PBC and you're not working on the right timeline. You can point the fingers, but at the end of the day, it wasn't like they was all on a conference call trying to get the deal done in a timely manner. So, they was going back and forth. But my only question would be, if Terrence Crawford was hit with that ultimatum and he truly expected to fight Errol Spence in 2023, and Errol Spence was serious about fighting in 2023, then why did they stop negotiations and why did it go silent? Because you got one side saying that Bud Crawford just stopped talking to them once he made up his mind to go with Avenesian, which that may or may not be true. The facts aren't out on that. But why did negotiations stop anyway if the plan was to fight this year? Because we could be announcing the fight instead of trying to talk about negotiations.
Marcus, can I answer a bit of that, right? So if Terrence is a grown man, he boxes. This is a dangerous sport. It's boxing, yeah? So if he's already got concrete guarantee that he's going to get $10 million to fight with David Avenesian, he can't be focusing on Terrence Crawford. I mean, on Errol Spence. He's got to focus on his fight, or he'll get hurt in there, bro.
The other thing about that is, okay, you look at the deal structure. You're not offered any money, but you can make $10 million in a very winnable fight before the year is out, and you can still go back to talk to Errol the following year, which seems to have been the plan anyway. Why is that a problem? They're putting it on Terrence. It sounds like they're putting it on Terrence that, things broke down, but there's nothing stopping Errol or Al or Stefan from negotiating now. The Thurman fight, what they're saying now, let me say this, what they're saying now is that the Thurman fight is going to happen in May. Well, if you have that much time, why not revisit the Crawford fight? Well, because you don't want to.
Facts. And then I'm going to be real, that the way it looks, right now, Bud is bad for business when it comes to PBC's business structure. And I say that because as it stands, they effectively hold 7 out of 8 world titles in 2 different divisions with 147 and 154. Now, if PBC is vying to try and get a better network deal, you want as many active champions on your roster as possible. The last thing you want is for a guy like Terrence Crawford to come in and beat 2 of your big name cash cows or big name earners, take their belts, and go off to a completely different company, and he's not signed to you. That's nothing but Canelo 2.0. You know what I'm saying? That's Canelo 2.0. That's it. He's trying to avoid. Al is putting blockades up to avoid that from happening.
All the blame for how things went is being pointed at Crawford. There's a recent quote from Stefan Espinoza, the Showtime executive, about what Terrence Crawford wanted. He didn't just want transparency. He wanted to be able to approve or disapprove of expenses. That's a part of it. And Stefan said in plain English, yeah, I had a problem with that. So why isn't anybody asking Stefan, well, Stefan, you're not guaranteeing this fighter any money. Naturally, this is what he's going to want because he's not guaranteed any money. He's working off the net. So of course,
and he's coming in. He's not just coming in as a fighter. He was coming in as an independent contractor. So he's coming in basically as his own promotional company. So as a promotional company, he's no longer just a fighter. He has on his hat now as basically a owner or a partner in this production. So as a partner, y'all have to sit down and be on the same page as far as expenditures, as far as expenses, anything of that nature.
And the reason, before I pass it back to Marcus, I'll pass it back to you, but just to characterize it for those that may not understand, it's not just oversight over the expenses, it's also approval, because they can hide money from you if you don't have any power. They could say, well, you know, that soda machine brought in $9 million. You know, that's a gross example, but that's how they can hide money from you. That if you have no power, they can say, well, this is what came in and this is what you get. And if you don't have any say-so in the matter, they can literally hide money from you and funnel it into something else. So that's why you would want the power to approve or disapprove of these things. Now, go ahead, Mark.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You see, that's the thing, right? It's
hold on, Beats, let Marcus speak,
you see with the guarantee, yeah? You see with the guarantee.
Being respectful, so I'm gonna
right? You see with the guarantee. I'll be quick. Right? Okay. Let's say you see Zach Parker and Demetrius Andrade, right? The second purse bid was what, about 300,000. Andrade didn't take. Let's say Andrade took the fight and he ended up with 200 grand. All right, so that would leave Zach Parker 50 grand. But he signed to Frank Warren. Do you think he's going to get? No, Frank's going to give him about 400 grand.
Exactly.
Andrade goes away with 200. You're not signed.
Exactly.
When you're not signed, you have to get guaranteed, and like you say, you need to see what's going on with the gross.
Exactly. Go ahead, Marcus.
So I agree with half of what you said. The only thing I disagree with is that all the blame is being placed on Terrence Crawford. I disagree with that. Me personally, I feel like there's two things that really would hammer in either side's point for me, right? So for Bud Crawford, we just saw Gervonta Tank Davis sign a second deal done with Ryan Garcia while he already had a fight lined up. If he would have said, okay, Errol Spence, I'll fight you in 2023, but I'm still gonna take this tune-up right now, and they would have blocked that and he would have went public with it, then I would have had to call that a duck. That's pretty obvious, because how are you gonna tell the man he can't eat while you're waiting for a 2023 date? But that's not what happened. So I just want to set that aside and let me get to my other point. On the other end, I hear that there was actual guaranteed money offered initially that wasn't up to Bud Crawford's standards, which he didn't accept. So that's how they ended up getting to a no guarantee. Now, I won't take that for fact, because at the end of the day, I've been breathing down Steven Espinoza's neck saying, hey, if that's the truth, right, why haven't not one person that actually matters said that? You know what I mean? Like, I have to call that a narrative until it's proven. Because at the end of the day, like, if they were to say, yeah, we offered you a guarantee and you turned it down, then I'm looking at Bud Crawford like, no, that's 100% a duck. You understand what I'm saying? Because, like, you could negotiate.
No, I get you, because I've heard those same things said, that the reason they arrived at no guarantee, because there was a guarantee, but it wasn't to Terrence Crawford's liking. I've heard that plenty of times. I have. But like you, which is why I don't go with that, I haven't heard Errol say that. I haven't heard Terrence say that, and I haven't heard Stephen Espinoza say that. So until one of them do, I'm not even going to bother with it, you know, until one of them confirm that.
Tim Brown didn't say it. Stephen Espinoza didn't say it.
Nobody said that. But I can play devil's advocate, though. I can play devil's advocate because of the expectation. If we go with that, right, let's just go with it for argument's sake, that they did make him a guarantee, but it wasn't to his liking. This guy made $6 million in his last fight opposite the ring, Sean Porter. $6 million guaranteed. That's actually more than Errol was guaranteed to fight that same fighter. If you've spent the last 5 years saying that Errol is the big fish and Errol is the cash cow and Errol is the A-side, any fighter, every fighter would expect a nice looking guarantee. It's like if you were going to go fight Canelo and all they offer you is $1 million. Well, wait a minute, this is a Canelo fight. And you've been telling me that he's the cash cow. So, no, this guarantee is unacceptable, which is what led to no guarantee, if we go with that argument. But is that wrong? No, it's not wrong. You the big fish, right? So where's the money?
You the sale, the big fish, the cash cow.
You trying to A-side me. You told me that it has to be on your platform because you're the A-side. You the boss. You call the shots. Okay, so where's the money?
Well, and this is why I'm here to argue my side, right? So let's say that's the case. So even for Errol Spence and even for a Tank Davis, they can call themselves the A-sides, the big fish, the big eight, the cash cows. But does that necessarily translate into their opponent getting paid their most? Because me personally, I'm a Devin Haney fan, right? Hold on, let me finish, my brother. Let me finish. I'm a Devin Haney fan, right? You got a Tank Davis saying, "Hey, I'm the cash cow. I'm the A side." Obviously, when it comes to events, when it comes to the gate, when it comes to pay-per-view, he generates more. But Devin Haney opponents get paid the most. So
I was just about to say, but Tank couldn't be although Tank sells at the gate, Tank could never be the A side against an undisputed champion, bro. You can't go in and say you're the A side against the champion.
Let us not forget that Adrian Broner spilled the beans a little bit and said PBC doesn't have money for Errol or Bud.
Shit. Not only that, Adrian Broner
said, let's let him finish his point. Let's let him finish his point.
Go ahead.
Oh, me? I appreciate it. So yeah, like I'm saying, like if Bud Crawford, he took the risk, he went over to PBC to negotiate a deal. Like I said, just because you're dealing with an Errol Spence don't mean it's going to be your highest payday. The same thing with a Tank Davis. So, yeah, I mean, if it wasn't up to his liking, that's fine. He can walk away from the table. My thing is, and this is my only problem with Bud Crawford, everything else don't matter. All of the 5 years leading up to it, the back and forth don't matter. That's why I said I don't care really about what they say. What I cared about is him walking away and saying Errol Spence didn't really want to fight when it's not necessarily true if he was offered something. You get what I'm saying? Like he could have just been like, hey, based on what I was asking for, it wasn't what I wanted. And if they want to renegotiate, we could do that. But when he spit on Errol Spence's name and said he didn't really want to fight, I had to say, well, where's the evidence of that? You get what I'm saying? So that's my main problem.
Can I rebuttal this quick? Very quick, right? So the mute point was when Terrence was going to go and take the fight with Avanesian, right? So that means, we're going to fight Thurman if you do that. Because, right, you can't be, having no tune-ups or anything like that. How come it was all right for Ryan Garcia to have a tune-up, but he didn't take it for Tank Davis? How come that was okay? How come they didn't run away?
According to Ryan, right, just to address that, according to Ryan, he was given the same ultimatum as Terrence. They told him, if you take that tune-up fight, this fight doesn't happen. That's according to Ryan. You could believe him or you could not believe him, but that's what he said. He said, if you take that tune-up fight, they said they wouldn't do the Davis fight. Coincidentally, that's what Terrence Crawford said Al Heyman told him. If you do that fight with David Avanesian last year, we're going to move on, and we're going to go into a Thurman fight.
That illustrates a pattern.
But Errol can have a tune-up, though.
Errol can have a tune-up, exactly. Right. The only reason that Terrence Crawford even took the tune-up, two reasons, really. One, he hadn't fought yet that year. And two, the fight with Spence wasn't going to happen last year anyway. So my question to that, which I often ask, why should him taking a tune-up fight late last year affect negotiations for Spence going into the new year? Spence already had a fight last year. He had the Ugas fight. Why should Terrence having a fight with Avanesian affect their negotiations? By all rights, they should be able to pick up where they left off in January. Like, okay, well, I'm going to tune up, and then we'll come back to this, and we'll see if we can't do the fight between us in the first or the second quarter. No fuss, no muss. But what did they tell him? No, we're going to move on and fight Thurman.
That demonstrates a pattern with PBC on top of it,
right,
which is not good.
Exactly.
If you don't mind telling me where I could find where he said that, I would appreciate it. Because
I have a video. I'll link you to the video because I recorded it. It was on Instagram. Terrence Crawford did a live Instagram, where he addressed all these different things. I actually recorded it with screen share, and I'll link you to it. And he details everything that happened. He details finding $50 million from an investor, and he said that Al Heyman didn't even want to explore it, which I thought it's strange. It's strange because, Al, you're not guaranteeing these fighters any money. This person is. So I'm not saying you have to go for that deal, but the fact that you didn't explore it to even find out if the money's real, that's strange because you have no money for these fighters. Errol said there's no guarantee. He said that. Bud said there's no guarantee. So you have no money for these fighters. Somebody else does, and you don't even want to look at it to see if it's real? Yeah, that's weird. That's weird.
His whole job is to do that. It's to identify where the money is and advise his fucking clients to take it.
Well, bro, you sound like you're trapped in a couch.
Yeah, the mic, your mic is low.
The only thing with that with the hedge funds, because I went back and forth with a couple guys about this. They're saying that in order for them to have access to the information that was within the hedge fund, that they would have to sign, non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that.
That's not necessarily true. Like that's just not necessarily true. You can send a term sheet. You can find out where the money's coming from if you want to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was my question, because when Errol Spence asked Terrence Crawford on Twitter, he said, I asked you where it was coming from, and you didn't say. Why didn't Bud Crawford just come together with his team to come together with a formal offer?
I think he told Al, he just didn't tell Errol.
No, he told Al, and you know what Al told him? I'm not letting anybody touch this fight.
Yeah, because in the live he said that he told Al, or he told Al about the hedge fund company, and the hedge fund people knew who Al was, and Al knew who they were. So it was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like in a nutshell, if you're saying that, okay, well, Errol this and Errol that, when Al Heyman tells him that I'm not letting anybody touch this fight, that kills it right there.
Facts.
That kills it.
That's somewhat true. But when Terrence Crawford, the way he said it was, I'm my own boss. So I called up Errol, since he said he his own boss, to see if he wanted to take this offer. So since he was on the phone and they were talking boss to boss, like he said, and that's the context he gave, then why didn't he give Errol the information that he needed to make an informed decision?
That's why he was pulling Errol's whole card, because as an independent contractor, I'm my own boss. I can make my own decisions. You've been saying that all this time while I was signed to Bob, that you're your own boss. So I call you to say, hey, let's get this fight cracking. I got $50 million. And the first thing you tell me is, I got to go ask permission. I got to go ask Dad for permission to come outside and play.
According to Errol, according to Terrence, he got Errol on the phone and he told him about the money, and basically what Errol told him to do is go talk to Al. He goes to talk to Al, and Al tells him, I'm not letting anybody touch this fight.
So what is it? So what does that tell you? So that gives further credence. Not only does that gives further credence that, like, if they don't want this fight to happen, because not only do you not want to do the fight, you don't want to let anybody else do it either.
Exactly. Now, one at a time. And the reason it should stand out if you understand how this works. That the reason there's no guarantee is because you don't want to risk it. You don't know if the pay-per-view is going to be lucrative, so you don't want to stake any money on it. Understandable. Okay, I'll go with that. But here you have an investor that's willing to front you $50 million, no risk to you. And what you tell him is, I don't want to let them do it either. So you just don't want to do it then. There's no risks involved if you explore the $50 million. There's no risk to you. None of your money is at stake. But you don't.
But that to me feels like
you'll get a piece of that shit.
But
Jules, why did he take the Avanesha fight? Why did he take the Avanesha fight?
In my mind, that's Al saying that he doesn't feel that fight is worth that much. Off top,
Tim Smith said that. Tim Smith said that. He said that at the beginning of last year, that they don't feel that the fight would be lucrative, so they didn't want to offer Terrence the kind of money that he was looking for. And that was in January of last year that he said that. That he said he thinks people would steal it. So you can see how they got to the point to where there's no guarantee. They don't want to.
I'm gonna be real. With let's say we go with the 25 million, okay? That's $50 million out the door, and we haven't even gotten to anybody else that's on the undercard or any of the other expenses or expenditures in the building. Like that's 50 million gone. We ain't even got to the press tour yet. You know what I'm saying? Like so $50 million just to the two fighters alone. You looking at damn near an $100 million pot.
And the funniest thing is,
the fight ain't gonna draw that big of money either.
Well, the funniest thing is whether it's kind of like what happened with Crawford and Avanesyan as a pay-per-view. Irrespective of how the pay-per-view performs, as long as the money's in escrow, who fucking cares? The money's there, right? We get our money. Who fucking cares? That's the point. That at minimum, that dollar amount for you should have at least sparked your interest, because you have no money for the fighters. Neither fighter's guaranteed anything. If somebody comes along and says, hey, I'll give him $50 million to fight, you should have at least looked at it. But what did Al say?
I ain't let nobody touch this fight.
By the way, let me ask y'all. So let me ask y'all a question. Like, let's just say y'all was being guaranteed, like, 20, 25 million. If we were fighters, would y'all start asking about back end money?
Fuck no.
No. Because
and I'm gonna keep it real. Especially
that size guarantee. Understand that size of a guarantee covers that, bro. That's like, bro.
No. But who asked about back end pay?
Errol.
Hello.
And I was just about to say
but
you
don't
had
get that 35% cut.
I feel like
hold on. I'm
gonna let first let me read these two super chats. Ray Sanders says Spence does not generate pay-per-view sales. His buys have been down, which is true, every fight since Mikey. People act like the opponent doesn't change how much people buy the fight. That's actually very true. His sales are down. He hasn't sold 360,000 pay-per-view buys since the Mikey Garcia fight. It's actually very true. Jacob Sims asked Jules, where did Ryan speak on the ultimatum Heyman gave him? That was an Instagram live. He was being interviewed. I did a video on it. I can show it to you. I recorded it, and I can post the link for you, all right? Just look for it. Now, go ahead, Jules' son.
But why did he take the Avenisha fight? Why Canelo fight Billy Joe Saunders instead of Charlo? Why the Moon made of cheese? Tell me that. Tell me that.
That's virtuoso. That's virtuoso. Yeah, like.
Yeah, that is me. Sorry, my fault.
No, but that's basically the silly shit that the dude was asking me. Like, he was asking me just a lot of silly shit. Like you can't compare Canelo and Plant to Errol and Crawford, because Canelo went to Caleb first. He went to him first. Before he went to anybody, he went to Caleb.
Real quick, Marcus, we appreciate the fact that you come on and just, debate. And it's okay to have a different point of view. It ain't even about that, because we all love talking boxing here, man.
Thanks.
But we appreciate you because you're not like that other dude. You didn't come in here and just start running your mouth and go on for 20 minutes. You're actually talking about stuff.
Or anytime somebody gives you a point, you're able to go and look it up and, okay, you know what? You can admit if you don't know something.
Let me say this: what the other dude was doing, which I already knew that, like, bro, you just trying to get people to watch your channel. You don't want to debate. You just want a bigger platform than your own to speak, so you can be seen. You know what I mean? That's what that was. Because the way you carrying on for like 10 minutes, I'm addressing what you're saying, but you're not addressing what I'm saying.
At all.
You're just moving from one thing to the next thing to the next thing without addressing what I said, that the parallels that you made, they don't apply to this situation. And I'm telling you that Errol Spence Jr., for the last 5 years, he's had a choice. And every time he chooses what direction he's going to go in, it's not the Crawford fight. You had a choice in Mikey Garcia. You didn't have to fight Mikey Garcia. You chose him. And you didn't tell him to go get a belt. You told Terrence he has to go get a belt. Mikey don't got to go get a belt, though. Mikey, fuck it. Let's fuck it.
It's either he chooses or the choice is made for him. One of the two.
Well, either one,
one of the two.
It's clear that the Spence side was clearly filibustering the fight. They never planned to make the Crawford fight.
If they offered Spence the Canelo, I can't stress that enough. Does it sound like they were worrying about doing a Crawford fight?
No, they didn't want Crawford at all. I mean, they've gone every other way, but they didn't went the Manny route. They didn't went the Canelo route. They didn't fought Ugas, Danny, Mikey, Sean Porter.
Everybody but Terrence.
Everybody. And the next guy, if he beats Keith Thurman, you can record this or screenshot it, however you like. The next guy, if he beats Keith Thurman, it's not going to be Terrence. It's going to be Sebastian Fundora.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh. And you know what I thought about that too? I said if Spence does stay at 154, I could see Fundora being next, or as a measuring stick. Hey, I was throwing some propaganda out there. I said Spence will fuck around and fight Jose Benavidez at 154.
You know what? I think it's going to be Fundora. Before I pass it back to Marcus, The reason I think it's going to be Fundora is you'll notice that Sebastian Fundora in his last fight fought who?
Carlos Ocampo.
Carlos Ocampo.
Yep. And who else fought Carlos Ocampo?
Errol.
That was his last IBF mandatory. You're absolutely right. Damn, the positioning there.
Yeah, it's that kind of matchmaking is not a coincidence. You have a proliferation of contenders at 154 pounds. This kid didn't end up fighting that guy for no reason.
For no reason.
It was an acid test. It was an acid test to see, okay, well, Spencer's fought Ocampo. Let's see how you look with Ocampo. And based on how you look, we'll do the fight. Now, did Sebastian Fundora look good with Ocampo?
No.
It's common sense, bro.
Oh, yeah. You go ahead, sorry.
Ooh, I can see that now. Wow.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Oh yeah. Well, first off, I appreciate the compliment. You know, I can't speak for knockout for the debate, but what I can say is that you know, I like to go to. Let's say I watch you know, Democrat news. I'm gonna go to the Fox News channels just to see if I could prove myself wrong sometimes. So that's why I'm here. But I'm just here to support the channel and talk boxing. Like I said, I'm a casual.
And you're welcome to the channel, bro. For real.
Hey, I can respect your opinion and be able to debate with you, because even if you don't know something, you're willing to go look it up and find it out. You don't do all of that. You know, the first time somebody makes a point, if you don't have a rebuttal for it, you don't go to the name calling, the disrespect, the attempting to troll, none of that. You can actively say, hey, you know what? I don't really know that, my guy, but let me go look it up. I'll get back to you. I can respect that more than you constantly trying to move the goalposts and find and reach for another reason to try and make your narrative valid. I can't.
Because that's what the other dude was doing. It's like, bro, it's not a debate if you're having a tirade for 15 minutes.
Exactly.
It's nothing to do with like dudes, no cap. I just tuned in to watch the dude get cooked. Really?
Yeah, me too. Like I wasn't expecting the dude to like I wasn't expecting the dude to like debate intelligently. The guy was just. He was not listening to you. He was just waiting for his turn to ramble.
Literally.
And the guy debates the way fucking Meek Mill raps. Like he just keeps going on and not making any fucking sense.
Y'all thought I was finished?
That shit was like 32 bars. That shit was like 32 bars without a hook, without a bridge. That was like 32 bars.
Man, I woke up to this stuff this morning and was like, oh shit, I'm missing it.
Hey, that's funny. He said he was debating like Meek rap. Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished?
Like, shut up, bro.
One at a time. Now, go ahead.
I thought it was a rap battle, man. But look, man. See, look, the Crawford protection thing started from a long time ago. With the
Ring IQ was giving him the bars, though. I'm strapped in. Look. It sounded like a Smack DVD battle. I'm strapped in.
And this happened. I could think of at least one time where that happened before, where the guy said, well, he really wants to get on the panel and he wants to have a debate. And it was the same thing. They're like, you're nervous, and that's why you won't stop talking, because you're nervous. Mm-hmm. You're bouncing from point to point. Like, you've probably thought about this in your head like a million times, and you're bouncing from point to point without addressing what I'm saying. That, you know, if it's a debate, we have to address each other. I have to address what Marcus is asking me, and he has to address what I ask him. And that's not what the fuck we doing when you carrying on for 15 minutes nonstop. And then you say, retort that, motherfucker. And I try to retort it, and you don't.
And then he starts talking again when you go to retort it.
I was just saying that, but I was cut, right? Here's the thing, right? When did Errol fight Mikey Garcia? I mean,
2019 March.
2019, yeah.
What did Richard Schaefer come out and say? He came out and said, you would rather see Errol fight Mikey than Terrence. That's what he said. The protection actually just started today. It's been a long time process.
Yeah, Richard Schaefer said that. Richard Schaefer was the one that said that he hears more people asking for a Mikey Garcia fight than a Terrence, which was a lie, bro. Nobody was fucking asking Mikey to go from.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know about y'all, but my response to him saying that was like, I don't know what you've been smoking, but stop smoking it immediately and put it down. Like,
let me bring up an example, right?
I need that.
Okay.
Like Mikey had one fight at 140. Then he dropped back down to 135, and he fought Robert Easter for the IBF. That was a unification match. Because Mikey already had the WBC there, and Robert had the IBF. And that was his fight. And you telling me that people was asking him to go up and fight Spence? No, they were actually asking him to fight Loma.
That's Lomachenko. That's what we wanted to see.
That's what they were asking him to fight. That was the two hot topics at that time. Aside from the Joshua Wilder stuff, that was the two other hot topics: Mikey versus Loma and Spence versus Crawford. And Richard Schaefer comes out in 2018. He says, "Oh, I see more people asking Spence to fight Mikey than Terrence," which was bullshit, bro. Nobody was asking for that.
Hey, so I got
let me bring up an example real quick. Like in 2015, everybody and their mama knew what they wanted to see, right?
Yep.
But did anybody was talking about, well, this fight got to be for undisputed or it got to be for 4 belts?
No,
it was for 3 belts, and everybody knew who the 2 best welterweights were, right?
It was them. Exactly.
Beats. Did anyone on your side of the pond would try to petition for Kell Brook to fight either one of them?
Look, I'll say this: it's what it really is like what people try to do to Floyd, and I see a lot of people try to do this to Floyd. They'll bring up Keith Thurman, that he never fought Keith Thurman, and I could tell that these are people that really weren't watching boxing at that time, or they're lying. Floyd Mayweather beat Chino Maidana for the WBA title. And the fight was so close, there were actually people that thought that Chino won. So what does Floyd do? What he normally does? Rematch. And at that time, nobody even knew who Keith Thurman was.
I know Keith had no buzz at all.
Nobody knew, man. But what they like to say is that, he should have fought Keith. Well, if he fights Keith, you know what they would have been saying? That he's ducking Chino.
Of course.
No. Well, watch it.
The reason why, now guys, the reason why I bring up that point, right?
Go ahead.
The reason why I bring up that point, because listen, man, that viral video, of Belly setback between Crawford and Spence, right? I look back over the comment section over and over again, and I don't see nobody talking about Ugas.
Nobody asked him to fight Ugas. Nobody wanted him to fight Ugas.
I mean, first, let's just say like Floyd had originally. Let's just say he fought Keith, right? For hypothetical, let's say he fought Keith and washed his ass. What would they have been saying about Keith afterwards?
They would have said, "Listen, the sequence of fights that Floyd had." Let me say the sequence of fights that Floyd had. One, Chino Maidana was a more known fighter at that time than Keith Thurman by far and wide. Why? He had just beat Adrian Broner for the WBA title. That's why nobody knew Keith at all. Nobody knew him. 2, Chino wasn't even under orders to fight Keith. Better still, he had the unification match with Floyd. It was a very close fight. Some people thought Chino won. Irrespective of who you thought won or who I thought won, irrespective of that, Floyd did the honorable thing, gave him a rematch. And what did he do after that? He fought Manny Pacquiao. So he was supposed to put the rematch with Chino on hold for Keith Thurman, who nobody knew. He was supposed to put the Pacquiao fight on hold for Keith Thurman, who nobody knew. And this is why I say that the people that make that narrative, they weren't watching boxing. Floyd didn't duck Keith Thurman. He had bigger fish to fry. That's what it was. He had bigger fish to fry. Chino,
but I'll tell you some names that they bring up who have ducked. Danny Duck Bud.
Yep.
And Victor Postol.
He did.
Well, Teddy is the head. Teddy is the head that wears the crown. You know what I mean?
It's not even debatable that Danny Garcia swerved a Terrence Crawford fight because he was literally made a $3 million offer, $3 million guarantee with an upside of the pay-per-view to come over to Top Rank and fight Terrence Crawford. And there's an interview where he's wearing a red blazer. That's how you'll know it's the right one. He's wearing a red blazer with a black turtleneck. And he says, I don't have to fight nobody. I'm not a champion. I don't got a belt. I don't have to fight nobody. That's what he said. At this time, he was ranked #1 by WBO. Number one.
I was just about to say he was #1 in the WBO before Virgil Ortiz and Sean Porter.
His father at that same time, and I'll get to the relevance of this argument. His father at that same time, he spoke to AB News. That's a news outlet here on YouTube. He spoke to AB News. And his father was like, why is he worried about PBC fighters? Go fight somebody else. Go fight your mandatory. At that time, you were his mandatory.
Yep.
Hey, Jules.
It's a shame that fight was never ordered.
Hey,
because he got knocked out.
Two things. One, Shelton Moore earlier said that the beefy Eubank card starts at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
I mean, I'll get to the show.
Oh yeah. I'm just,
Jules, you might as well stay on now. We just chill, bro.
Backstage asking to get on.
You said who?
Drew and
yeah, but we already got like 5 people, and it's hard to get a word in. Back to the point, the relevance of that argument is a lot of times Errol Spence Jr.'s fans like to say that he did all the heavy lifting, when in reality, all that Errol and Danny and Keith did was freeze out Terrence, because he did pursue those fights. They did make Keith Thurman an offer, but he said he wasn't interested. They did make Danny an offer, but he wasn't interested. So it doesn't make sense to pretend that, Terrence doesn't want to fight the good fighters. Terrence wasn't trying to get those fights. He was trying to get those fights, but they told him no. What was he supposed to do? He went as far as leaving Top Rank. He severed that relationship in
publicly.
Because Joe's credit to you, because remember, like Crawford, before the Brook fight, right? Before that happened, Crawford, I think you pointed this out. One of Terrence's tweets. He told Top Rank, send the Brook offer to Thurman. Then he said, that fight's not happening. Then he asked why. He wants $10 million.
Yeah. Coincidentally, Bozy Ennis and Jaron Ennis, for what it's worth, both Bozy and Jaron Ennis. You know what they said? Keith Thurman wants $10 million. Is that a coincidence? You wanted $10 million for Terrence. You wanted $10 million for Ennis. It's not a coincidence.
Bro, that's his price I'd offer.
You're not getting that. Like
now, go ahead, Marcus.
I got 2 points, and then if you want, I'll clear the panel so somebody else could join. But you brought up Mayweather, and like I was saying, heavy is the head that wears the crown. When you're at the top, you're gonna have people coming from all directions. So obviously they're gonna have something to say if you don't fight everybody, and you can't fight everybody. Devin Haney's learning that right now. You got Shakur moving up, and they talking about Devin's ducking him. And if he move up to 140, he's ducking Tank. It is what it is. And then, I saw the point you made about Josh Taylor. When you come out the undisputed champion, and then you got people saying that, if you don't fight Jack again, you didn't think you won and you ducking, or if you don't fight Regis again, like, it is what it is. So, it comes with the territory. And then my last piece is, me personally, with Errol and Bud, I'm disappointed in both of them, to be honest with you, because at the end of the day, I'm a customer. You know what I mean? I'm not a fan. I'm a customer. If I go to a restaurant and I order Undisputed, and then they bring me back Avanesian and Bud and Thurman and Spence, and I order Undisputed, and it ain't there, what you want me to do? You want me to support the establishment, or you want me to ask for my money back and walk away?
I ain't paying for that shit. Hell yeah.
Now, Marcus, I'm with you, because that's essentially my perspective on this channel. I'm a customer. You know what I mean? I'm a customer, and I look at all these things as different things on the menu. Keith Thurman is not a pay-per-view worthy fighter. He is not an elite fighter. I'm sorry, but he's not. It's not 2017. And when you fought only once in the last 3 years, and the last top 10 fighter you fought was 6 years ago, you're clearly not an elite fighter. I've maintained that I don't think they're ever going to fight. That's always been my perspective. I don't think they're ever going to fight. In my honest opinion, based on everything I've seen and everything I said, the PBC never wanted that fight.
Nope.
Jules, that's what amazes me is that
they've been planning around it. They've been planning around that fight since 2018. If I could go to a video of Errol on camera saying that Al gave me 4 names, at that time, you were on a 2-fight-a-year schedule. So if Al gives you 4 names, that means he just mapped out the next 2 years of your career. And Terrence wasn't in there. So I have no reason to believe that the PBC wanted to do this fight. If at the beginning of last year, Tim Smith, their VP of communications, says, we don't even think this is going to make money. We think people are going to steal it. That's what he said. Why would I now believe that, y'all really wanted to make that fight? What I believe is you made him an offer, you expected him to reject, and when he didn't reject it, that created problems.
Yep. That put everybody in the uproar and the tizzy. Like, oh shit, he wasn't supposed to accept this.
Exactly. You made him an offer that no one else would accept under these circumstances, because nobody's going to accept an undisputed title fight for no money down. That doesn't happen. No money down, no guarantee for a fight that's been built up over 5 years. Nobody's going to take an offer like that. But Terrence was willing to, at least according to Terrence. Whether or not you want to believe him, that part is up to you. But that's what he said. He said, I was willing to do it, but I want transparency. I want oversight. And oversight is not just looking at a sheet. It is being able to approve and different expenses that are there. It is that. Because if I'm only getting net, if I'm only getting what the fight generates, yeah, I need to know where the money's going. And yeah, I do need to approve it. Why the fuck wouldn't I? If y'all would have gave me a guarantee, we wouldn't be here.
I'm not just coming into this fight as a fighter. I'm coming in as a partner.
It's not as complicated, honest to God. It's just not as complicated as it's made out to be. It only becomes complicated because people want to vouch for Spence. But you have to ask yourself, did he have to fight Mikey Garcia?
No.
Did he have to fight Ugas? I actually give Errol a pass for Danny because he was coming off the car accident. I give him a pass for that. You get a pass for that. I felt he needed a tune-up fight. And I wanted him to have a tune-up fight so that if he fights Terrence, there were no excuses. So I give him a pass on Danny, but nah, you didn't have to fight Ugas. Ugas was already under orders to fight somebody else. Why you capping for him and not Terrence? He already under orders to fight Stanley. He was already under orders to fight Stanionis, so you could have spun the block for him after Terrence. You wanted him instead of Terrence. Terrence was a network and promotional free agent. No Bob Arum, no Top Rank, no ESPN. Who you for?
Anything he wanted.
Ugas. Why Ugas? That pay-per-view didn't even sell shit. The one with Manny, it didn't sell shit.
Because it's bragging rights. Ugas beat Bud in the amateurs. So I could say I beat the man that beat the man.
Right.
This is kind of obvious, like it's kind of obvious, at least to me, that if you wanted to fight, the fight would have gotten made. You know, like Jose Ramirez, for example. He's a good example. He wanted Mighty Mo Hooker's belt. So he crossed the street and got it.
Crossed the street.
Thanks.
I respect it.
You know what I mean? He crossed the street and got it. You know what I mean? Now, if Stephen Fulton does this, if he actually does this, and he actually fights Inoue, that's another example. He said he wanted that fight, and he went out there and got it.
And went and got it. I can't lie. This is why I gave Devin his respect for winning undisputed, man. It's hard to go beat a guy in his own backyard, not once but twice.
Bottom line, the deal that Devin took, that was a fucked up deal as well. It was.
But he did like the old school fighters and did what he was supposed to do. That other fighters aren't.
Now remember, while you watching Devin go to Australia for undisputed, and you watching Stephen go to Japan for an Inoue fight, Errol is the guy that told me and you that Bud is on the wrong side of the street. That don't seem to bother Stephen Fulton.
Right.
That don't bother Devin Haney.
And they go into other countries instead of just being here.
They go into other countries and other promotional networks. And they doing it all.
You know what I mean? When it was about Errol, it was about sides of the street. It's about the broadcaster, the platform. All I know is Devin did what he had to do for undisputed. That's all I know. Right now, Usyk is doing what he got to do. He was with Matchroom for a couple of fights. All right, now we over here because we want undisputed.
I agree.
Thanks.
You notice a similarity in something like it was the same thing with Wilder, Errol, and they're with the PBC. First, the belts mattered. I want to be undisputed. Then it was, oh no, it doesn't matter, and it's just about money. And it goes back and forth.
Bear in mind that the same people that endorsed Gervonta Davis and all that belts don't matter crap. Bear in mind that those same people, they'll tell you that Errol is the A side because of what?
The belts.
Jesus.
He did all the legwork because he has what? He did all the heavy lifting.
Jules, it's funny. The same people who say that, they want to justify why they're getting 50% for AJ. Make
because
that make
one
sense.
Belt.
Make that make sense. He's got one fucking belt. Make that make sense.
Too much
because he had one belt. And bear in mind that at that time, At that time, he had never even been on pay-per-view.
Hello.
He hadn't fought Fury yet.
But because we say this and it's the truth, all them fools want to come over and argue and call names and this and that and everything else.
I was about to say, listen, right now, it is a spin sexual around the world that is cussing you the fuck out, Jules. It is too much cooking. It is too much
all I know is
going on.
my prophecy, what I said in 2018, we here. I told you they wasn't ever going to fight.
Yeah.
I told you they wasn't ever going to fight. I told you that Wilder and Joshua wasn't ever going to fight.
But there seems to be a segment of boxing Twitter, right, that still hasn't caught up to the rest of the world, right? That in boxing, you know, promoters can pull some shady shit, right? Like if anyone that's read the Undisputed Truth from Mike Tyson, right, he talked about how when he was back with Don King, right, and back from his prison stint, you know, how he used to charge him like $100 for each tower, right? And then when I heard the situation with Bud Crawford, when we wanted transparency, right, that gave me a light bulb to when Mike Tyson had that same situation with Don King, man. So it's like if you go into a negotiation where you have no power over proving expenses, and you're coming in as a promoter, as a 50-50 fight, right, which is technically what it's supposed to be, right?
Yep.
And he wants to see the books, then yeah, you're gonna have to show them, because you never know when they're gonna pull some shady shit like that.
And you know what? The worst thing is a lot of the fans on that side on for Arrow and all that, they've actually amplified things and made this whole thing worse by what they're saying, they're doing, and all the shit they're talking and everything else. It was already bad enough. You know what's been happening with Errol and Bud. I mean, you could probably, like Marcus said, you know, you're disappointed in both. We're customers. We want to see the fights, but because of those fans also have something to do with why shit's fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we still have Keith's career still being resuscitated. And it's like, yo, bro, like you haven't caught up to the fact that Keith just fell off, bro.
Hey, shout out to I can't lie though. Shout out to Pimpin' Al, man. Al is the coldest string puller in the game since Geppetto did Pinocchio. All theyese sanctioning body moves, they keep making, man.
Wait a minute. Okay, we're all gonna say it. Thank you, Al Heyman.
Man, Keith Thurman lost to Manny Pacquiao and still was number one. Got moved up to number one in the WBC. Now he's finna be number one in the WBO as well. Deontay Wilder got knocked out twice by Tyson Fury and still stayed the number one contender.
Yes, he did.
Who else, man? I mean, you got Errol Spence moving up to 154, but still keeping all three of his belts. You got Stephen Fulton, who was able to keep his belts at 122, but still go up to 126. Shit is just Shout out Pimpin'.
Let me read the super chats. Luis Fuente says Crawford ducked because he's too talented, apparently. Tyrese says EJ beat Keith leftovers. Now that Keith is a leftover, they're fighting. Yeah, in many ways. That if you Ray Sanders says Spence complains about the heavy lifting, and it worked out that way because he set it up. Exactly. That was the setup from the get-go. The setup from the get-go was for you to fight those people. So how you gonna hold it against Terrence when that's what Al wanted?
Shout out to the puppet master, baby.
Yo,
hey, Jules, real quick, Arm brings up a good point. He says the only reason, I'm sorry, DLG Image Creations. He says Fulton is Heyman's sacrificial lamb. They will use his purse to pay for other fights. Do you think that could be a possibility why Al might not interfere with that?
The other thing is, first and foremost, for me to endorse what Stephen Fulton is doing, it has to actually produce a fight. And we don't have a fight yet. What we have is news. We don't have a fight.
Hearsay, pretty much.
I gotta see it, and I'm not trying to knock Stephen Fulton. I'm just saying that I gotta see it to believe it, because what normally happens in this situation, we don't get a fight. It's what normally happens.
Right. Especially when Al's involved. You know,
I'm
supposed to over there. I'll give him his respect.
Shout out Geppetto Heyman, man.
I'm supposed to believe. I have a reason to believe that Stephen is really trying to pursue the fight. I have a reason to believe it, and I have a reason to not believe it. The reason I might believe it is because of what Adrian Broner did and what Adrian Broner said. He been saying, yo, it's a lot of guys over there that ain't getting fights, they ain't getting paid, shit's getting pushed back, you don't get your money till a month or a year or whatever. He said a lot of different shit. So because of that, I could believe that maybe one of the fighters hurt him and they like, nah, B, I ain't just gonna be sitting here on the shelf knowing that the Inoue fight is worth more money than a Figueroa fight. Fuck that, I want the Inoue fight. What Steve Kim tweeted is that Fulton demanded the Inoue fight. Demanded that shit. But whether or not that's true, I don't know that. Until I see a fight, until I see an actual fight, I ain't gonna know if that's true or not. Because
and it's funny because it looked like the well is drying up. Because you just said it. It's a lot of guys on the shelf that haven't been getting fights. Remember, they had the news come out about the Charlos having they bills paid and shit by Al Haymon and PBC because they weren't getting fights
and allowances and all that bullshit. Before I cut the live off, because I'm seeing that the card started and Frazier Clark is in the ring. All I'm saying is, you could do shit to save face. You could pretend that you're going to fight him how Wilder pretended he was going to fight AJ and how Errol pretended he was going to fight Bud. I was never convinced that Wilder versus AJ was going to happen. That's all I know. And I was never convinced that Spence versus Crawford would ever happen. Right now, I'm wondering, is Fulton versus Inoue really going to happen? Or is all this for show?
I hope it's not for show. I hope
this is a segue to the live stream, but like real quick, I want to respond to the guy that called him Geppetto. Listen, what you described right now with the fighters getting these cushy ass spots as mandatories is like the music industry. How do you get an artist to get to move up the fucking top 40 list in your favorite radio station? Payola.
Bingo. That why you think Al was so fucking he was in the music industry before he came to boxing.
I was about to say he came from the music.
He came from the music industry. He brought that same Hollywood motto into boxing. He brought the same bullshit. He got these fighters fighting on 360 deals, basically. Yeah.
Now what I'm going to do, because I don't even know if I'm gonna go live for the card. I kind of want to, but I also kind of want to chop up all the different talking points.
It's on right now, Jules.
Yeah, I know.
Jules, you just want to stay on, bro, and just cook.
I kind of want to chop up the talking points.
Stay on. We roll with you.
Yeah, but the card just started. If I stay on now, it's gonna be like 8 hours, bro.
So,
what y'all don't understand is I was eating breakfast.
Look, I'm about to say, what? I ain't doing shit. I'm in the hotel with baby all weekend.
If you want to chill, we'll hold it down.
Yeah, man, we'll hold it down. Just order some Uber Eats, man.
We cooking.
Hey, real quick, I just wanted to say I appreciate the hospitality. Thanks for having me on. You got a new subscriber.
For sure, Marcus, man. Good meeting you, man.
One love to you, Marcus, man, for real.
Good talking to you.
Hey, man, I love being able to discuss good boxing, good fighting with fellas that know the game, man. Not all this propaganda, man. I love it.
Because I'm going to close it out. I'm probably going to start over during the co-main event. I'll probably jump on. But I just want to say that, look, if you want to have a debate, you can't keep moving the goalposts, bro. And I know you're listening. You can't keep moving the goalposts. You can't ramble for 15 minutes, then ramble on for 15 more minutes talking about different shit. Especially when I addressed all of your points and you didn't address any of mine.
Right. And then they're gonna say, "Oh, it's easy work, man." Yeah, whatever, dude.
Y'all gotta realize you're not just arguing. You're not just arguing or debating with the fan. You're debating with the spirits as well. Because I had a guy pull up a whole bottle of Barefoot and down it on me. You understand what I'm saying? You're debating alcoholism, ladies and gentlemen. You have to realize this. Like you're not just debating the fan. You're debating wine and spirits. So
now,
be prepared.
This is for KO. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up the things you said, and I'm gonna clip it to where I address what you said, and I'm gonna post the corresponding evidence of that. Because what you thought is that you could bury your talking points under other talking points by saying a bunch of shit. That's what we're trying to do.
But he never said shit, Jules. He didn't say nothing.
No, but he thinks he did. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna condense it. I'm gonna go to the shit you said. Then I'm gonna go to the shit I said, and I'm gonna prove the shit that I said.
Hold on. The logic is he said what he said.
He didn't even know what the fuck he was saying because we didn't know what the fuck he was saying. But the wine and spirits believed everything. He was loud and wrong. Like he was so confident, just loud and wrong, bro. He was saying that he didn't know what the fuck he was saying, but the alcohol was like, yeah, you say that shit, talk that shit. Like, and then you got people.
I just think he was delusional, man.
He got his drinking buddies in the chats. You tell him, Powder. Like they in their assistant in the chats, man.
Oh shit!
Come on here, Powder. Listen, they in their assistant pimping, co-signing, everybody drunk. This shit is Jules. I don't know what's going on. The mic was underwater. I think he poured liquor on the mic. He poured out a shot on the mic. He conversation and drinking his phone, bro.
Poured alcohol on the mic. That's hilarious.
I'm going to try to go watch this fight, gentlemen. I might go live for the main event. I might, or the co-main event. And I'll be back. All right.
Wait, Jules, hold on. Jules, hold on. Hey, Cam, you got a Twitter, my brother?
Yes. No, I gotta. I ain't gonna lie to you. I gotta get back on my Twitter shit. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram, _Cam Edwards. Facebook, you can look me up. Cameron Edwards.
Okay, I got you.
Shit. Yeah, man. How can I forget, man? Yes, we do got a boxing podcast. Me and my brother. My brother Gooch, man, Mr. It's Gooch to you. It's called It's Boxing to You, man. Look him up on Facebook. On YouTube. Yeah, hit me up, man. Just I had to get that shit to you. I got all kind of shit going on, bro. I do stand-up comedy. I got a single. I got 2 singles out actually musically. I do Southern Soul. I do hip hop, R&B. I do all that, man. But I love fighting. I like to fight. I love boxing. So. Anytime I can get in with you brothers and chop it up, man, and talk this boxing shit.
You're welcome to come back, bro. You welcome to come back.
I appreciate y'all having me, man. One love to y'all brothers, man, for real.
I'll see y'all on the next one. I'll see y'all in a few.
Yeah, peace.